Leewards and the Windwards. We tell you that the Windwards would have won the toss and they have decided to bat. So the Windwards will bat first here in this first game of a three-header match here at the Warner Park Stadium. I've been joined by Noval McCall. McCall, good morning and welcome to Warner Park.
Good morning to listeners in the Caribbean, listeners in the Leeward Islands, and particularly in the Windwards. And we thank you for joining this coverage of this women's T20 game here in Warner Park. Windward Islands winning the toss, elected to bat. The team presented for the Windwards: Afi Fletcher, Jamila Glasgow, Kimon Homer, Cassie Williams, Abby St. Jean, Marcia Len, Zaida James, Pearl Etienne, Narissa Crafton, Kiana Joseph, and Karina Noel. The teams for the Leeward Islands would be Willett, captain, Amanda Williams, vice captain, Therese Parker, Janice Richards, Melissa Clark, Tynetta McCoy, Kimberly Anthony, Devana Claxton, Maynard, Jazara Claxton, and Divinia Saxena. And this morning we are hoping for a really keen contest between both teams. And Gary, we seem to have really, really lovely weather for play, good conditions. What do you think of the batting or the pitch for today?
Well, from this vantage point, is a pitch that was one of the pitches that was used during the 50 overs competition. The first the game yesterday, they used the most eastern pitch, and this is the third pitch that they're using. I think this one, when they had the 50 over competition, the spinners were able to extract some turn and bounce from this pitch. So we be looking at it closely to see if the spinners for the Leewards will be able to extract any turn and bounce from this pitch here at Warner Park. So from this vantage point, it looks to be a good batting strip.
All right. Well, generally, we know in Warner Park the tracks are very placid and good for batting. There is a tinge of green on the surface. We are not certain if that would aid bowlers in some sideways movement, whether it be for pacers or spinners being able to extract something from the surface. But what we do know generally, the surfaces are good for batting, and we would hope batters would apply themselves. There's always something in it for the bowlers if you're willing to work hard as well. So we hope that it will be an even contest between bat and ball.
Well, both teams would have lost their opening encounters, so they'll be coming out to see who can come out victorious in this second round of matches in the T20 Blaze here at Warner Park. The Leewards had a poor performance in the first game versus Jamaica. At one point, they were 19 for 7, but they were saved by a good partnership between Parker and Amanda Edwards, a partnership of some 49 runs, which took them up to 68. But that wasn't enough for the Jamaicans, because the Jamaicans were able to win that. And so the Leewards, we're hoping to do better. They have not done well in neither the CG 50 over competition, and they are now started the T20 Blaze on a losing note. So they're expecting to do better. You would have indicated we are hoping to have a keen contest. Well, we will be hoping, because the emphasis will be on hope. We'll be hoping that it will be a keen contest here at Warner Park, as we see the players going into the middle. The two openers for the Windwards making their way into the middle.
Yes, and you did say hope, and the truth is it's really about application of oneself, whether it's bat or ball. You would want to apply yourselves as best as possible, and that could potentially give you some results. The Leewards really would need to work hard. They are looking for victory, and Windwards are no less hunting for that victory as well. They had a couple of really good games in the Super 50, and would want to replicate some of that in this T20 Blaze.
So the two openers for the Windwards, it looks like Jamila Glasgow and Zayda James are the two openers for the Windwards. And Glasgow is normally the opening bowler for the Windwards, but now she has been entrusted with that responsibility of opening the batting for the Windwards?
Well, I guess in this format, she probably would be the one going hard at the top, maybe looking to take advantage of power play overs. Maybe that might be the strategy why she's been moved up the order to the opening position, to try and put pressure on bowlers and to score early runs. What we do know at times in the female versions, that wickets tend to tumble very quickly. So even though there might be an intention to score quickly, you still would want to be what I would call cautious attack.
So it's Jazara Claxton will be opening the attack from the Lozak Road end. She opened the bowling in the first game yesterday, and she did extract some steam off the pitch. So let us hope from a Leeward standpoint that she would be able to get a good line and length and get some more movement. There's a slip to start with, and there's also a point, there's a cover, extra cover, and a mid-off. So she will be hoping to get that good line on the off-stump.
Yes, based on the feel that she has, it's offside base field, most fielders inside the wing, and if she's getting some movement, we'll hope that she'll be supported maybe by some more attacking fielders, but we are yet to see what will happen. It's a solitary slip, and we'll see if she could hold that line and length and make early inroads, but I'm certain that the batters for Windward would have other ideas.
A full delivery, no ball, first up. So the outstretched hand of the umpire at the far end. And we get to the names of the umpires. So the first ball was a full delivery above waist. And if she bowled another delivery like that, she could be out of the attack.
Yes, it was an innocuous delivery.
Carolyn Brown and Laborde are the two umpires. So, free hit in the first over. First ball, full above the waist. So now Jamila Glasgow has an opportunity to swing her arms.
And that she did, hitting it too wide of mid-off. They get 1 and 2.
She does that and goes down to the onside, and she got 2 runs. So with that free hit, they were able to get 2. So the Windwards now move to 3. The first ball was a no ball, and then they got 2 runs from that free hit. It's a good delivery right up in the block hole from Jazara Claxton, and the batter Glasgow had to come down hard in it and pushed it back into the onside. So the Windwards will be looking to bat the 20 overs and see how many runs they can get. We have not seen a team going past 100 as yet in this competition. This is the second round of matches, so you're hoping that the Windwards can bat the 20 overs and put up a good total. Jamila is driving back down the strip, and Jazara Claxton fields to her home bowling. So the Leewards' performance in the entire competition has not been good, and they would want to get the momentum moving because they didn't do well in the Super 50. They came at the bottom of the table, and they would have lost the first game against Jamaica.
Yes.
So the offside, they have crossed for 1, but it will go into the boundary for 4. Good shot. It was wide on the off stump, and here was Jamila Glasgow played it between point and cover down towards the boundary for 4.
Yes, a good shot. Ball was short and wide. She made simple adjustment and hit the gap, basically not looking to overhit the delivery, but basically placing that one in the gap for 4. A really good shot, and Jazara would want to adjust her line and length somewhat, and she made amends for her bad start, but she erred there in length.
So in the first over, it's Jazara Claxton, another short and wide delivery, and Glasgow looking to force him to the offside. She missed it and taken behind by the keeper. So this is the first of 3 matches to be played today at Warner Park. And so as the Leewards would have lost the first game, the Windwards also would have lost the first game as well. So they'll be hoping to have a good performance. The Windwards winning the toss and decided to bat. Good shot down the ground. It will go close to the boundary, and Anthony will not pull it back. It has gone into the boundary for 4. Love the shot from Jamila Glasgow. Ball pitched up, and she drove it through mid-off and down towards the boundary for 4 to bring up the end of the first over. So it's 11 for 1, the Windwards.
Well,
Without loss, sorry.
a beautiful shot there, Gary. Ball was over pitched, and she gave the full face. She presented the full face of the bat and just eased it past mid off really with more timing than power. Just using the timing of the ball to get down to the mid off long off boundary for 4. And generally, from my observations in this tournament so far, Gary, the Leewards' strength seems to be in their bowling. They have managed to pick up wickets in most games that they have played. So I think this is where they would have to really show their mettle if they want to be competitive. Their batting has not been the stronger part of their game, so they would really want to do well in the field.
So it's Melissa Clark who will be opening the attack from the media center end, and she will be bowling to Zeta James. She's the other opener for the Windwards, and they're sticking with the slip for Clark. So there's a slip, there's third man, there is a point, there's a cover, extra cover on the mid off. And the batter, James, just in behind, a slow and short delivery. And then she had an eye down towards back of the square. Maybe she was thinking that she probably could have swung it through back of the square. But it was short and slow. But the batter just pushed it back down the strip.
Yes, I think that one could have gotten the treatment, but maybe she's trying to pick up the pace of the pitch before she go hitting.
Delivery on the off stump, and Zeta James looking to push it into the offside. Came from the inner portion of the bat. And the keeper came from behind the stumps to collect. So we're in the second over, and the Windwards will be looking to put up a good total. They are 11 without loss. And Zeta James has faced 2 deliveries. She's not off the mark. 10 from 7 for Glasgow on the left side. Thigh pad indicated by Laborde as an appeal went up. But the delivery which was offline, and I'm sure Zeta James might have been thinking that she would have missed out on some runs.
Yes, that one was a delivery down the leg side, and getting a touch would have probably earned her a few runs. She missed out, and she continues. It would be though for Clark to realign those deliveries and keep things tight.
On the leg stump, taking on the pan and appeal went up, but obviously from this vantage point it's going down the onside, so leg by should be signaled by umpire Laborde. She has done that. So another extra to the total, and so with that extra, the total has gone on to 12. We're in over number 2. We have good sunshine here at Warner Park for cricket, and so the Leewards would want to put up a good performance. They lost the toss, and the Windwards decided to bat first, and the Leewards playing an unchanged team from the game which they lost yesterday. Are you surprised that Leewards playing an unchanged team? We'll get back to that after this delivery. Full deliveries, punch down the ground, down to Jazara Claxton at mid-off. She feels another full delivery, but the batter Zeta James did not capitalize on it. So are you surprised that Leewards playing an unchanged team?
Well, I guess because it's the second game, they probably would keep going with the same 11, hoping to get some worth out of the team. But you'll have to see if there's a need to, or maybe there isn't someone to fit in at this time based on the management. But there's some observations I made by Clark here. She seems to be getting that ball tailing back into the left-hander. She's getting some swing, and she might be advised to keep it a little fuller in her next over.
So a good first over, just a 1 run. So after 2, the Leewards, the Windwards 12 without loss. So there's a change of bowling at the far end, and we now see Devia Saxena has been, is it Saxena or Kimberly? It's like Kimberly Anthony, who will be coming in from the far end. So the Claxton first over cost 11 runs, and Captain Willett, Sanilo Willett, has decided to pull Claxton out of the attack, and she has brought in Kimberly Anthony to be bowling from the far end.
Yes, it was a very expensive over to start. She had a no ball and a couple of boundaries off it, and I guess the captain's thinking, well, we need to build some pressure here. We don't want to give the Windwards a flying start, and hoping that Anthony, who she has brought into the attack, can tighten things up.
So it's Zeta Dreams who is facing up to Anthony. Dead ball signal by umpire Caroline Brown at the far end. So the Windwards will be hoping to bat the 20 overs. They will have lost the first encounter against Guyana. Full delivery, punch into the offside. Good big chance of a run out. And it goes to the wrong end. Let us see how it's going to be a run out. Yes, so it's hesitation and confusion in the middle, which has resulted in a run out. So the Windwards, they have lost the first wicket in over number 3.
Yes, they have, and I think that's attributable to some good work really in the extra cover area. The fielder in extra cover cut off the ball. Had it gotten past her, it probably would have been an easy single because the batter was playing on the run, and then the fielder went through the ball at the wrong end really, but she was so far out of the ground there was no chance for getting back. But there was some confusion definitely with the running, and it's fortunate that Leeward would have picked up the wicket in that way, but that's how the game goes.
Right, so it was a good bit of feeling at Swedish mid-wicket by, it looked like Maynard, and she created the doubt in the batter's mind. The return came in, missed the stumps at the far end, but the captain, who was on the offside, collected it and had the return down to the keeper, and they removed the bails. So the Windwards have lost a wicket by the run-out route. Now we're seeing the advent of the captain, Afi Fletcher. So it'll be depending and hoping that Afi Fletcher could bat a long innings for the Windwards.
Yes, the batters in this tournament with that international experience, Gary, have really shown that worth more often than not in the difficult times. I mean, it's not in a bad position at this time. She just needs to bat and bat for her team. The Leewards would definitely have other ideas and wanting to remove her soonest so that they could make further inroads. And the change of bowling, I don't know, that may have created a little thing for the Leewards.
So Anthony will continue from the far end. She'll be bowling to the captain of the Windwards team. She misses a run for the second time in the over. Dead ball signaled by Caroline Brown, so maybe she's not getting the run up right. And instead of bowling on the ball, she decided to pull out of the run. So a dead ball was signaled. So being over number 3, 12 for 1. Ball clipped into the onside by Afi Fletcher, down towards the back of the square. And goes for a single. So a single to the total. It has gone on to 13. So it will be the left-handed Jamila Glasgow. She is on 10 from 9. So was Melissa Clark at backward square for the right-handed Afi Fletcher. So now it's the left-handed Glasgow. Outside the off stump, played a tentative shot at it. Maybe the ball didn't come to her as quickly as she was expecting and taken behind, but she was playing at it, but a bit tentative.
Yeah, playing and missing really. You would want to either make a decision to leave it or play hard at it. Just hanging the bat out there really would more or less cost you a wicket, but Anthony continues.
Good shot, he's driving. Fielder down at long off, going across to her left. And the cross for an easy single. So with that single, the total has gone into 14. We're in the third over. And the Windwards are winning the toss on batting. They lost the wicket in this over. Mix up between the two openers resulted in Zeta James being run out for a duck. And she faced some 4 deliveries. So Anthony will bowl from the far end.
That's it!
Afi Fletcher is easily driving into the offside, but goes down to the captain. Captain for the Leewards. That's Daneldo Willett. She's at extra cover. She feels. And the total remains on 14 for 1 in over number 3. Forcing to the offside down towards the back of the point area, where it is Tinetta McCoy who fields. So after 3, the Windwards, they are 14 for 1.
14 for 1, decent start so far, but I would say over. I would consider it a bit of a comeback over after the first over that Jazara bowled. Anthony putting the ball in better areas, better lengths, and containing the batters for Windward thus far. Also picking up that run out to have the first wicket. At the same time though, Gary, my observations, you mentioned that Glasgow would have batted probably a little bit more down the order in the 50 over, but I find she looks a fairly compact and good player.
Yes. So far, she has acquitted herself very well. So Melissa will bowl her second over. And she'll be bowling to Jamila Glasgow. Wide should be signaled by umpire Laborde, a delivery which was offline and taken behind by the keeper. So Melissa would, as you indicated, she has been getting some movement off the pitch. So she would want to have a better line on the centre and off stump.
I may even suggest that she may consider going around the wicket and try and target that ball from wide of the off stump in.
That's a good delivery outside the off stump. It was coming back into the batter, Jamila Glasgow, getting some movement back in towards the batter. She has been shaping up for some big drive outside the off stump, but because of the ball is coming back in towards her, she's cramped for room. Full and punches down to mid-off, and fielder at mid-off bubble, that's Jennison Richards, but they get a single. So with that single, total is going on to 16 for 1. The current rate is 4.80. That's score 96. So the Leewards will want to try and continue to keep things tight and continue to pick up wickets. So the change in the field, there's a fielder has gone down on the cover boundary. That's look like Anthony. We're still in the first power play, so the 2 fielders out, the cover and the third man.
Yeah, I think that's a defensive move, Gary. With the swing that Clark's getting, I think they should have maintained the slip and asked her to drive.
A delivery right up, and Captain Fletcher just pushing it down to extra cover. So yes, I agree with you with the movement that she's getting, and to the right-hander, she'll be getting the ball to move away from the right-hander. So you would want to have some pressure. You want to have a slip. So at least if an outside edge is found, the slip fielder can take the catch. And a delivery, poor delivery on the onside and punish by Afi Fletcher. A delivery down, going and down the onside, and Fletcher just swung it through back of the square and into the boundary for 4.
Well, really too easy for Fletcher. She just got inside the line of the ball and hit the gap between backward square and the forward of square, and got 4 easy runs. No real risk, no real threat, and Clark would want to bowl the ball a bit fuller at her pace. It wouldn't threaten someone of the quality of Fletcher, really.
So Clark, so the change in field, long leg on the boundary, and a good delivery. And there was Fletcher looking to drive, and that seemed what we have been talking about. She got that, it was driving. But you need to have the slip in place if you're going to get those kind of movement.
Yes, I just mentioned bowling a bit fuller, and you see it inducing a drive and probably could take an edge, and they really pay not being attacking enough here.
And it's driven through the offside, and it will go close to the boundary. And she will pull it back just inside the boundary. And thinking about the third, Afi Fletcher, and they're going to come back for the third run. The fielders, they were not running after it because they probably thought he would have gone into the boundary, stopped just inside the ropes, and they were able to get 3 runs. So after 4 overs, 23 for 1, Windwards.
Yes, I think that was also good running by the Windward Island batters, but really poor behavior in the field for me for Leewards. A ball struck to the boundary, you have to chase it. You cannot assume it's gone. I mean, they could have cut off probably 1 run, but they stood, looked at the ball, and Windwards were able to benefit from that. But I really think that Clark is getting the ball to do something in the air, and they could really set a field that could bring about a wicket and ask her to bowl fuller and create some more pressure for the batters.
So Anthony will continue from the far end. Her first over cost 2 runs.
There we go, ladies.
So she'll be bowling to the captain of the Windwards team. Fletcher is on 8 from 7 deliveries. Glasgow on 12 from 13. Fletcher is stretching and driving. Goes down to mid-off. And there is no chance of a run. So an important period of play for the Leewards. If they can keep things tight and get the wicket of Fletcher, they I'm sure could put some pressure on the Windwards batting. Turn into the onside. They've gone through for the first one, thinking about the second. And the return came in quickly enough to create some doubt in the batter's mind. So they just came through for a single, so one more to the total. It has gone on to 24 for 1.
Yes, the Leeward bowlers really need to be a lot more disciplined. Try and bowl one side for a bit. Create some pressure. You don't want to be spraying the ball around, allowing batters to be free to score on both sides of the wicket. I know it's a T20 game, but you have to apply pressure at times in order to get wickets. Restrict scoring shots.
Anthony Bowler delivery on the stumps, and Jamila Glasgow is to the measure of it, just pushed it back on the strip on the offside. Yes, they would want to keep that line on the off stump, the corridor of uncertainty, as we normally hear in cricket. Keep it as close as possible to the off stump. But the Leewards have been straining line on occasions. Trailing line on the leg stump and lower the appeal, but from this vantage point, and Fletcher looking for a non-existent single. So there's a communication issue between the two batters. The delivery on the leg stump, and Glasgow looking to whip it into the onside, came off the pad.
Well, Gary, I would want to say there's been a general communication issue between the batters, because the first wicket fell as a run out, and it was really a matter of communication. But would Leewards be proactive enough to realize and feelers be on their toes to try and capitalize on this little communication issue that might be going on between the Windward batters?
Yes, they would need to do that, and Anthony will want to keep that off-stump line. Straight back over the bowler head, and it has gone down towards the boundary for 4. It's a good shot. The ball pitched up, and Jamila Glasgow went after it and played it straight back over the bowler head and into the boundary for 4.
Yes, very good shot, playing with a straight bat, hitting what would be considered the biggest gap in the field. Playing straight between mid-on and mid-off, or long on and long off. It's the biggest gap in the field, and got 4 easy runs. She looks good to me. Very compact, very solid.
Comes up both to Glasgow, driving crisply into the offside. They have cause for 1. They're going to think about the second, but it changes their mind as the return came in. So 5 gone. The Windwards batting first, 25 for 1.
25 for 1, I would say a good start by the Windward. Not taking too many risks in terms of their stroke play. Capitalizing on bad deliveries. Leeward at the same time would not be disappointed that they have been able to hold them to 25 for 1, not allowing Windward to really get away to a flyer in these opening power play overs. And I say good morning to Earl Smitten, who joins us in commentary position.
Good morning, Wilmon. But 29 for 1, 5 overs gone, going at 5.8. We consider Windwards with a slight edge. Bearing in mind that these encounters have been low-scoring encounters, I would say that they would have taken first advantage here today. Of course, we have seen 88 runs yesterday, proving to be a winning total. As we see bowling change from the end, it's the captain, herself, Willett, bowling right arm medium pacers. And she has just the 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. There's a cover sweeping and the long off. It's a very poor delivery, wide of the off stump and signaled by the board.
Yes, that looks like it got away from her. It was wide and even going further away. And you mentioned that the Well, it's now 30 for one start. Would definitely give Windward an edge, but you just didn't want him to get away to probably a 50 or 5.
This is a very good one from the captain. Peel goes up, striking Morgan on the pad, but probably the ball thought it might have been missing. In fact, it's Glasgow, sorry. And probably missing leg, Novel?
Yeah, probably from our vantage point might have either been missing or maybe pitch a little outside. And the umpire is in the best position to judge that one and adjudicated it not out.
She starts it up and gets a quick single. The return goes to the strikers and then given out there by umpire Brown. So Leewards picking up another wicket. It was driven straight to the fielder at short mid-wicket and the battles were through. And as you guys would have been saying earlier on, there seemed to be some communication issues between the Windward Island batters. And as a matter of fact, throughout the tournament, I've seen them and they have not run well between the wicket. And Windwards losing the second wicket, and the second wicket going down by the run-out route.
Yes, another wicket being falling via the run-out route, and I mentioned earlier to Gary that the communication didn't seem to be on point for me, and if Leeward's fielders were keen and on their toes, they could benefit from this running issue or communication issue between the batters. It was so obvious that to me that once they were proactive, they could benefit, and benefit they did. And I would want to also mention that Willett seems to be getting the ball to swing a bit, and I would hope that she could line it up just a little bit better and she could really produce some problems. She already would have struck Glasgow on the pad on a close call, and if she could keep it full and continue to put it, I would say a little bit in between the sticks, she could be in business.
Importantly to Noval, the wicket going down is the captain, Effie Fletcher. And certainly a good blow struck there by the Leeward Islands. And Fletcher, of course, has been the main run getter for the Windwards. But Etienne is there. She has picked up some useful scores. Not very big scores. She has gotten into the 20s in the 50 over fair. And as a matter of fact, yesterday she would have scored some 15 runs. She was second top scorer with a wide signal there by the board. So one more to the score. It's now 31 for 2.
Well, Etienne, as you mentioned, would have gotten starts in the 50 over fair, and she would want to try and use this opportunity to build a partnership with the opening batter, Glasgow, who has been going fairly well. I mean, batting is about partnerships. You want to hang around and build a partnership, and let's see if Etienne can do that with Glasgow.
Well, Etienne, of course, is a no-nonsense batter, and there you see she's driving, but straight back up on the off to the bowler Fields. Willett feels well for own bowling, but she is a no-nonsense player, and she's not afraid to wield the willow.
An aggressive lady, is she?
One of the opening bowlers, of course, for the Windwards. This one is banged up to cover, and she gets her first run as it's fielded there by Anthony. And that takes the score to 32 for 2. But you just need sensible batting from the Windwards, and if they could get past 100 runs, I think they would have a very good score on the board based on how the Leeward Islands has been batting. But let's not forget that in the 50 over affair, the Leeward Islands managed to score 166, which I think was a very commendable achievement. They should have, in fact, won that match which they lost by 1 run. Nicely stayed there by Glasgow up to cover for a single. But Glasgow's looked solid, and she has played some good shot. And as you would have rightly said earlier on, she normally comes, well, in the 50 over fair. Anyway, she comes later down in the order for the Windwards. But in these 2 matches, in the 20 matches, she has been put up in the order. She has been asked to open the batting, and she is looking very solid today. She has done 18 from 21 deliveries, and I think that has been a very useful contribution from her so far.
Yes, she's looking good. Her shot selection has been good, and if she continues to bat like this, she could put some pressure on the Leewards. At 33 for 3, I think Windwards are well on course to get close to 100 runs, Earl, and no team has scored over 100, 88 I think being the highest score thus far, but they're on course in the 6 over 33 for 2 with a lot of batting to come. I think they are on course to do so.
Well, you say a lot of batting in terms of numbers. They're just 2 wickets down. But whether or not there's a lot left in terms of quality, that's another question. But I've seen Amanda Edwards. She seems to be a very efficient batter. But here's a good drive by Glasgow.
Nobody move,
Goes
nobody
straight
get hurt.
to extra cover, and she can't score.
Well, you speak about quality. You would have mentioned that Glasgow usually comes a little further down, and so too would be Etienne, but they're higher up, which means there should be some quality behind, and I guess they might be inserted early just to push the pace on, push the tempo of the scoring up in the early overs.
Well, I've seen all of the Windward matches in the 50 over fair. Edward has impressed me. She's a tall, elegant left-hander. Here's another bit of confusion. Glasgow playing down the track, and she was struck getting back. But really crazy. She played it to short mid-wicket to Willett. The ball going straight to Willett, and she was just charging down the track looking for a non-existent single.
Yeah, there was no single there. Straight to Willett. That would have just been another run out, really.
So Anthony bowls a good one, which is driven back. And she feels to her own bowling. But rather crazy running here from the Windwards. But as we speak, Noval, I see some dark clouds gathering.
Yeah, there's some clouds overhead. I don't know how threatening they will be. But you speak of the running, I'm wondering if it's Glasgow is the one who is creating the excitement out there in the middle. Both runouts would have involved Glasgow.
Well, she almost committed suicide that time. And certainly she has been in the mix so far, very much in the mix. She opened the batting, but 1 run at the end of that over, which has taken the score to 34 for 2. But we were speaking about some clouds which would have gathered in the southwestern corner in particular. Yes, of course, some clouds in the southeastern corner also.
Well, I know normally when they're in the southeast and coming in, we worry. So we are hoping that those in the southwest don't trouble us too much, and so that we could have some cricket, because we haven't been having a lot of rain in these times last month or so. Many would welcome it, but here we would want the cricket to play for today.
This one is driven in the air. It goes down to wideish long on, which fielded by Melissa Clark, and just a single. As you know, I live in the rural area, the Half-Tree to be exact, and we had a good shower earlier today, just after 8 o'clock minutes to 9, from Half-Tree leading up to Old Road, and we have been having some little showers over the past couple of days, so The weather appears to be changing a bit in terms of rain. This one is banged up towards mid-wicket. That's a good shot there by Etienne. She swung it into the mid-wicket region and down to the boundary for four. Good shot indeed.
Well, you mentioned that Etienne is a no-nonsense kind of batter, and that really shows you just a fractionally short, really. And Etienne latched onto it, hitting it in front of square closer to mid-wicket for four. And as you mentioned, last evening I was mentioning to the fellow commentators that in the eastern side where I reside, we did have some rain yesterday afternoon. I was surprised that we had cricket here all day in Warner Park.
Very wide from Willett, in fact, being signaled outside the popping crease. So very wide indeed. Another set of stumps, another two set of stumps that might have been a wide also.
Potentially, it was very wide.
This one is a much better delivery on target than about the half stump, and Etienne is defending well. What I've noticed too, Noval, is that the outfield here at Warner Park is very dry, but I find it has been very sluggish. I don't know if it's because of the roughness of the field at the moment.
It's probably because of that, and the Warner Park outfield is usually very pristine, usually very quick, usually very good, but maybe some work needed on it as well.
Of course, this one is banged up to extra cover, and a no run, fielded there by Amanda Edwards.
Etienne seems, Earl, not to be one who defends too much, plays with hard hands, always looking to give the ball a good clout.
She's flicking, that one coming from something, was it bat, was it pad, signal now by the umpires, so she did get bat onto that one and the ball raced away down to the fine leg boundary for four, but badly lined delivery. More or less on the pads of Etienne, and all she had to do was to get a bat onto it, and she capitalized by picking up four.
Yeah, not much needed to be done there. It's angling down the leg side, just clipping it. There is no deep fine leg, no protection, so Willett really cannot afford to be on such a line. There's no protection behind there. It will be four every time.
This time it's a slow delivery, which is worked up to mid-wicket by Etienne. So Glasgow is on 20, Etienne is on 9. Afi Fletcher, she got 9 also. And as we speak, those clouds seems to have drifted away. Those clouds in the southwestern corner seem to have drifted away, but as I said, once we see clouds in that area, there's no real threat of rain.
No, they really, the winds usually blow from east to west, so the clouds really would continue going west, which is really further away from Warner Park. We would worry if we were to see clouds building up in the southeast, and as I said, this part of the country really wouldn't have been seeing any sort of rainfall. The rainfall is more in the rural areas, more in the northern part of the country, so to speak.
44 for 2. As usual, this one is stayed up to backward point, and charging back for the second run. And 2 more to the score, 2 more to Glasgow. But as usual, we see, in fact, there are 2 flocks of pigeons here at Warner Park. So over the last couple of days we have seen a number of pigeons, and in fact a number of mourning doves also, nicely driven by Glasgow up to Whitish Meadow for a single. So it's obvious that they are finding food here, probably some grass seed. It's very dry, but the birds seems to be benefiting from the conditions here.
Well, they would find things and know things that we won't. These are areas they would know very well, but I would want to say that I think Anthony Kimberly has been doing a tidy job. Is 3.2 overs for 12 runs. She's been keeping one end pretty, I would say, pretty tight, Earl. but the other end hasn't kept up well for the Leewards.
Of course, we are in over number 9. Willett, as you said, she has bowled some good deliveries, and here was another good delivery which seemed to have popped a bit on Etienne. In the end, she played it well. She kept it down, and the ball ran down to short third man, where it was fielded by Richards, and no run, but a good delivery, slightly quicker than the previous deliveries too. And this one is a good drive, straight back overhead by Etienne and down to the boundary for 4. That's a very good shot. It was pitched up, and she played slightly across the line, but in 2020 cricket, that is considered to be a very good shot, especially if you get good bat onto the ball.
Well, she plays with a lot of bottom hand, not so it would appear, as some might want to say, a bit agricultural, but Etienne has her style and isn't afraid to give the ball a good hit. She plays with a lot of power, probably a bit too much bottom hand, but it works for her, and it worked there.
Etienne, of course, is not a frontline batter, as we saw in the 50-over match. In fact, the no ball signal just now, the 50 coming up also for the Windwards, 50 coming up from 8.4 overs. But she normally bats lower down in the order. But certainly she is there to give some momentum in the air, but wide of extra cover. And here you see Glasgow again charging down, looking for a second run. Glasgow seems to enjoy running.
Glasgow is a quick runner between the wickets, but I mean, running in between the wickets is not all about speed. Calling is critical. You're not running by yourself, and you must consider the partner that you have. You can be a very fast runner. If the person isn't as quick as you, you can't just think you could touch and go every time. I mentioned last night running, there are simple calls that you really need to have. It's really yes, no, wait. Glasgow seems to be one who can get down the other end quickly, but she must consider the partner that she's batting with. And if she continues running like this, she may end up running half the side out.
Well, certainly, well, she has already run the 2 wickets out. So, as you say, if she continues that way.
She's a very energetic sort of player, busy I would want to call her, but I would want to pay more attention to the calling, the yes, the no, the wait, and make sure that the batter with you is responding when you make these calls. The question might be, Earl, is she even calling, or she's just, as we would say in local parlance, just hitting and running?
Yeah, that's true. But I've seen her in the field also, in the outfield, and she's really a quick mover. I've seen her, she's one of the opening bowlers for the Windwards, and as you rightly said, she's very energetic, and she really moves around quickly in the field. When she's fielding, she charges after the ball, and she gets it in quickly. Of course, we've had a bowling change. It's Jennison Richards who is bowling from the media center end. And here is one in the back pedaling there by Saxena, but unable to get back to take the catch, and they're back for the second run. But it was in the just over Saxena, who's at backward point, and she back pedaled but was unable to get back to take the catch. Some might feel that she should have gotten there.
Well, I think she was advancing much too quickly for a shot like that. I think Etienne has shown that she plays a bit with hard hands, so you don't want to try and attack the ball too quickly in such a situation.
Here is Etienne hoiking this one over mid-wicket between long on and mid-wicket, who was coming around. And picking up 4, but that's a good shot, and Windwards looking to accelerate here. A good shot there by Etienne.
Well, Etienne cashing in, a ball pitched up, slowly flighted, and she just hit the ball well into the gap. I think that's playing into Etienne's strength, really. Someone who has some power and not afraid to play the ball through the onside, and she plays it through the onside, I would say, fairly well. Another good shot by Etienne.
Etienne has rushed on to 20 from 14 deliveries, and the scoring rate for the Windward has gone over 6.11. Once for tossed up and banged this time down to long on for a single. And Melissa Clark is the fielder down there. And it's now 59 for 2. And this is building into a very good score here for the Windward Islands. So won the toss early and opted to bat. So Leewards, they've taken 2 wickets, but in fact they were handed 2 wickets on a platter by the Windward Islands.
Yes, ill-advised running by Windwards basically. But Richards, I find, is for a batter as aggressive as Etienne, is a bit too generous in flight. Would want to probably change the trajectory a bit and then maybe induce a bit of flight to create some indiscretion from the batter. But we'll see how she goes about it to Glasgow.
Of course, that is coming from an expert off spinner, Novel McCall, who is a very successful bowler for St. Kitts in Leeward Islands cricket. Many felt should have gone on to play for Leewards. But here is one overtossed once more by Richards, and gets a single down to Clark coming off the long off boundary. And over 10 comes to an end. At the end of over number 10. We've had a partnership of some 30 runs. It's 60 for 2. At the end of over number 10. And we will have a drinks break as I welcome back Gary Pemberton. But Gary, certainly things have gone pretty well, I would say, for the Windwards at this point. 60 for 2, 10 overs completed. They're going at exactly 6 runs for over. So that's a very good position to be in at this juncture.
Yes, and we have seen since Etienne has come to the middle, she has not been afraid to take the attack to the Leeward Island bowlers. I thought that Kimberly Anthony, she was there about, but she was bowling a little bit too slow, and the batters were able to play her easily. I saw Saneldo Willett as well. She was offline. Her deliveries were a bit slow as well, and the batters were able to strike them. But the Windwards, they are in a very good position. 60 for 2 after 10 overs, and they'll be looking to get up past the 100, maybe 120. The Leewards, on the other hand, would want to get some wickets and get the batters out. The catch that went over the head of the field at backward point, I thought she was running in even before this shot was played, and that caught her off guard, and then she had to backpedal and the ball went over her head. If she had stood her ground where she was, just on the edge of the circle, it could have been an easy catch.
Well, I tend to agree with you there with that one. Of course, you know, it might, if she had stood her ground, it could have gone probably straight down her throat, but poor judgment there on the part of that fielder. We have been talking about the Leeward Islands team, and Novel would have said earlier on that the strength of the Leeward Islands team is their bowling, but one wonders if there's too much strength in the Leeward Islands team. If you look at the Super 50, the Leewards had 50 overs available to them, and they only took some 15 wickets. And when I said took, I'm not including runouts. Bowlers actually taking wickets. They would have taken some 15 wickets in those matches. Of course, granted, they would have made some low score against the Windward. They made 59, for example, which, you know, would not have given their bowlers much of an opportunity to get among the wickets. But the wickets, the bowlers have not been very penetrative from what I've seen so far.
Right, from what we have seen, only Melissa Clark has been able to get the ball to steam around, but the length was I mean, the line at times was a bit off. So So the Leewards bowling really, as I said, is not penetrative, and so the batters for the Windwards have been able to take the attack to the Leewards bowlers. So we are just about to start after that water break, the drinks break, and the Windwards would want to continue. They are scoring at 6 runs per over. Etienne, they would want Etienne to stick around for another 5 or 6 overs.
Yes, somebody in the circle. And at the rate at which she's going,
another person.
you know, another 5 or 6 overs, and Windwards could be
You
well
need
past
somebody else in the circle.
We're going to see a bowling change from the far end. It's Amanda Edwards who comes into the attack, and she's bowling right arm off spin. And perhaps we have seen young Zara Claxton being given 1 over. Perhaps it's time to give her another go. And of course, she was expensive in the first over. I think she would have conceded some 10 runs. But here is one in the air, one bounce there to the fielder. Short extra cover. And just dropping short of that fielder, and she knocked it down, but a foul shot being drawn from Glasgow. So Edwards is flatter this time, and it goes down to point. It's fielded by Richards, and there's no run. So Edwards, who would have picked up a couple of wickets in the Super 50 this time. That's a good drive there. Up to long off by Glasgow for a single. So Glasgow is on 25 from 35 deliveries. Etienne is on 21.
Bowler is right arm over, straight to come.
So we have 5 outside the 30-yard circle. So yeah, I really feel really flung far and wide now. In fact, they have one too much outside the circle, so they're asking the sweeper at straightish cover to come inside the circle. So there's a long on, long off mid-wicket, and the backward square back on the boundary for Edwards, but Etienne is defending, and I guess she's looking for that right delivery to go over the top. And she's driving, but all along the ground this time up to long off, and picks up a single.
Left.
This is good going here by the Windwards. Track has played well too. Tinge of green, as we would have seen earlier on.
Nothing.
Glasgow defends to McCoy. It's a fairly quiet over there. Yeah, fairly quiet over.
Yes.
I think it's just some 2 runs that would have come from that over.
It was a good tight over from Amanda Edwards. The two runs that was scored off her bowling were the 2 deliveries that she floated up, and the batters were able to get a single. But the other deliveries were pushed through flat and fast, and the batters were not able to get under to drive. And so I think that Amanda Edwards would want to continue to push the ball through flat and fast rather than allowing the batters to get under her to drive her down to the long ones. A tight over, but they would want to pick up wickets. They would want to break this partnership. Because they came together when the score was 30, so they have already added some 32 runs in good time.
Jennison Richards will continue. Richards has backward point. She has a short cover, extra cover. Long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square, short mid-wicket, and short fine leg, but this is a good drive. Straight by Etienne, and they're quickly back with the second run as the fielder fumbled a bit down there on the long off boundary. I think it was Claxton who in the end did the fielding, and 2 more to Etienne. So Paul Etienne, 24 from 18. And Janila Glasgow, 25 from 36. It's 64 for 2. Yes, it is. That's a wonderful delivery. It's pitched just on about off stump and turned into the right-handed Etienne, who perhaps might have been guilty of playing down the wrong line now. She might have been genuinely be deceived by a good delivery, and she was bowled all over the place.
Yes, it was an excellent delivery from Richards. The batter was caught in 2 minds. She wanted to come onto the front foot, but it probably was not there for the drive. And then she was caught in between the shot and ball spun back in between bat and pad, and she was bowled. So what a way to get a wicket. It was a good wicket to get, because Etienne has been batting very well. She has been taking the attack to the Leewards bowler. So a good wicket for the Leewards in the 12th over.
I don't think Etienne though has gone past 30 in the tournament so far. She has gotten into the 20s a few times and gotten out. So she seems to be the type of batter who gets out in the 20s.
Let's go, Jenny. 1.2.
I think she would have done a job though. She would have been sent there to give momentum to the innings, and she got her runs at more than a run a ball. So she would have done a job, and she would have given the team a good foundation on which to build. 64 for 3. Homer is the new batter, and she's right-handed. So
let's go, Jenny. 1.2.
Richards picking up a very important wicket at this stage. She tosses up right away to the new batter, Homer, who is driving, and it comes from the outer portion goes into a backward point position for Saxena to field. So no run. Give near, driven nicely by Homer. And a single down to long off.
Keep batting a glass. Keep batting.
So she has not been afraid to fly those deliveries. I thought the one though was a bit too far up. If you could just pull back the length a little bit, she should be able to create some doubt in the batter's mind.
And over there.
Of course, I think the ploy is a good one, especially for the new batter. But Homer timed it well down to long off to get a first run. And now Morgan, in fact, Glasgow
There we
was
go, ladies. We're still at it.
sometimes. She's on 25 from 36. She's driving nicely between cover and extra cover out towards the boundary. Some football there by Melissa Clark. Stops it just inside the boundary. They're back for the 3rd run, as the return is a rather weak one to the bowler, Richards. And 3 runs there to Glasgow.
Good bit of feeling by Clark running around the straightest mid-wicket boundary, but the return was a bit weak. It was a bit stronger. The batter, Glasgow, could have been in some trouble.
So Glasgow has gone on to 28. And here's a good drive, straight back overhead by Homer. And well fielded there by Clark. And just the 2 run. But a good straight hit there by the batter. And those 2, total has gone on to 70. Already a good score. Gary, considering the dot of low scores we have had in this tournament so far.
Yes, and we still have some 8 overs remaining, so that's 48 deliveries. If you can score 40 runs for those 48 deliveries, that's 110. So they'll be looking to get at least 120 from here on in. The projected score is 117, and they're scoring at 5.83 runs per over.
But a quick look at Homer though. Homer is bent on pushing the scoring along. She,
somebody else want to
from
come
the word
in.
who has been going for big hits, so
Somebody else
she
want to
could
come
be
in.
dangerous. And I think the Leewards would be looking to get rid of Homer as quickly as possible, because based on the little we have I've seen so far, if she stays around for a while, she's going to push the score.
There we go, ladies. We're still at it.
Yeah, she has been she's not afraid to attack the Leewards bowlers.
But Edwards continue from the far end, driven nicely.
Well done.
Go straight to point, where it's fielded by Clark, no run.
Look for it, ladies. Keep batting.
And, Edwards. This one is driven up to long off.
Back up.
Glasgow using her feet and
Right.
just getting a single.
Right.
So field, of course. Set for the big hit from Homer. There's a long on, long off. There's a deep mid wicket.
Nothing.
But she has to defend good delivery from
The ball in.
Edwards.
There we go,
Plays
ladies.
it back up on the offside. So he was keeping things fairly tight.
Nothing.
Yes, Edwards has
Stay
been
bowling,
bowling
stay
flat and
bowling.
fast, right on the stumps. And the batter Homer can do nothing more than just to push it into the offside. So that's what you want to continue to do. Keep the batters in check, or keep Homer in check. And she has been bowling a straight line right on the stumps.
There's 6 in the inner ring, 4 on the off, 2 on the on.
Stay bowling.
Here's one defended once more to McCoy, who is at a short mid wicket, and once more there's no run. So there's a deep mid wicket. There's a long on, long off. This one is punched up to extra cover. But it can't beat the fielder there. That's Kimberly Anthony. She feels well as the over comes to an end. So 13 overs completed. It's 71 for 3.
Another tight over there from Amanda Edwards. So her 2 overs have just cost the team 2 runs. So she has been bowling flat and fast and on the stumps. And as a result of that, batters are not able to score runs. So they want to continue to keep things tight. And so the current run rate is 5.46. And the projected score 109. So we have some 7 overs remaining, and the Windwards, look at they can get up to the just over the 100 mark spin.
Well, they certainly could, and we are seeing another bowling change here. Saxena, he's coming into the attack from the media center end, and she will be bowling right arm off spin also.
So this is the 7th bowler that the Leewards have used.
Saxena, of course, one of the better batters. So Divya Saxena
Let's go. I need another man.
will pick up the attack to the left-handed Glasgow, who is on 29 from 39 delivery outside the off stump, and Morgan is driving it and missing a delivery which was pitched outside the off stump and spun slightly away from the batter. Wicketkeeper, of course, fumbled. And Terrence Parker, of course, the wicketkeeper for the Leewards. Saxena bowls one which is driven in the air. It's in the gap. Claxton is around Miss Fields, and it's tidied up by Clark. And just a single in the end.
I thought she was a bit too casual. She came around and she went down with the one hand, and the ball went to her, but fortunately she was being backed up by Clark.
It's good teamwork there. Outside the off stump, and this time a wide signal. It was pitched wide and spun away. And it went past that red guideline there. Short, punch, but straight to the captain there at extra cover short, extra cover no run. So Saxena over the wicket. Short again. Takes the bat on the pad, but that one seemed a bit high. And appeal from Saxena, but not supported by her teammates.
It was a bit high and obviously going on the inside.
She's using her feet this time. Glasgow and driving powerfully up to long on, where it's fielded by Devana Claxton, and just a single. So we have one delivery, one legal delivery left in over number 14. Saxena, as Gary said earlier on, the 7th bowler to be employed by the Leeward Islands. And only one bowler so far taking a wicket. The score is 75 for 3. And 2 wickets going by the run-out route. Some indiscretion on the part of the Windward Island batters. Just a sprinkling of spectators. Probably even less than a sprinkling. And but 1 or 2 persons in the southern stands looking on at the game. It's a good day for cricket, bright and sunny. Use of the feet here down to square leg, a quick single. Return is 1 bounce to Saxena, who plucks it from the air. And the over comes to an end, 76 for 3. Glasgow is on 32 from 44. Etienne scored 24 from 19. And as we move into the 15th over, Gary, probably time for the Windwards to use the long handle.
Well, yes, with the last 6 overs, they would want to get close to 40 runs. But the last over there from Saxena, the one delivery that she floated up, she got some, she extracted some turn and bounce, but it was wide, and the other deliveries were pushed to flat and fast. So maybe she might want to try a few more deliveries floated up on the off stump for the left-hander.
So Edwards will continue. This is swung to short backward square to Melissa Clark, who floored an easy catch. That one was swung straight to her. She did not have to move an inch. She's inside the 30-yard circle, and she should have held on to that one.
Straightforward catch. She should have held on to that. She went straight into her hands. I guess she went with it with hard hands because it hit the hands and bounced back out. So a chance going a begging for the Leewards, but those are catches that you should take. Straight to you, no reason why you should drop that.
Homer looks to be a batter who is willing to play a shot, so it's a wicket that they could have well done with at this point. Driven straight to short extra cover there, Willett Fields, and once more we see the batters, Glasgow in particular, charging down, looking for a non-existent run. But this is something that the Windward Islands would have to work on. This one is driven up on the onside, and the bowler herself feels no run. So this has been a good over so far.
Yes, it has been a tight over.
In fact, she should have had a wicket with the first delivery. And here's a good drive just to the right of long on, and they're quickly back for a second run. So 2 more to the score. It's now 78 for 3. And Homer with that 2 has gone on to 6. So Edwards. This one is swung in the air down towards straightish mid wicket, and just a single, 1 bounce to Jennison Richards, who is on the mid wicket boundary, and just the 1 run as We've had the completion of some 15 overs, and it's 79 for 3.
So Amanda Edwards has just completed her third over, and she's only conceded 6 runs. She should have had the wicket of Homer. She was dropped a straightforward catch to Melissa Clark at backward square, and she couldn't hold on to it. So a bit of a disappointment for Amanda Edwards and the Leewards, because the shot was played straight to Melissa Clark, and she couldn't hold on as a welcome back. Noval McCall.
Yes, I thought that was a very straightforward catch indeed.
So wide has been signaled by umpire Laborde. Delivery was just floated up on the off stump, on the leg stump, and Saxena. And continue to see mix up in communication with the batters.
Well, I don't think that was mixed up at all there, Gary. I think it was really good running, basically putting pressure on the fielders, the keeper in this case, who, in my opinion, fell asleep, was not paying attention, and Glasgow, who continues to be very aggressive in her running, in some cases sometimes almost seeming a bit crazy, but in this instance would have put pressure on the fielding team here.
So Saxena is in her second over, and she'll be bowling to Glasgow, who opened the batting. She's on 32 from 44, so she would have done the job that she was sent out to do by her captain and the management team. Over the offside, and it will go down towards the boundary for 4. So she came down, she used her feet and played it in the air, over back for the point, and down towards the boundary for 4.
A good shot, really chipping and hitting the ball past backward square for 4. Good cricket shot. And Glasgow continues to carry on, continues to build. Really seemingly better when she's running. She's aggressive, sometimes a bit overly aggressive, but can play good cricket shots as well. I think she looks good, continues to look good, and doing a good job for Windwards.
So the current run rate 5.74. Down the strip. When she gets there, she's punching it down to Melissa Clark at mid-off. So another stinger. So I'm sure we're going to see the Windwards batters try to up the tempo in the final 5 overs. We're in the last set of 5 overs. We're in over number 16. So 4 overs remaining after this. And these 2 batters, I'm sure, will be looking to take the attack to the Leewards bowlers. So it's Saxena who want to prevent that. Down the strip, and she's tugging it into the onside, goes down to Melissa Clark at mid-on. So 1 more to the total. So it's an obvious intent from the batters now to go after the bowling.
Well, yes, with 7 wickets in hand, just 4 or 5 overs to go, it's time to try and pick the tempo up even more, to put more pressure on the bowling team.
Down the strip, and she's looking to drive. The ball probably came from the inner portion of the bat, went onto the pad. So Glasgow has been looking to use her feet to the bowler Saxena. So the keeper would have to be mindful that there could be one coming behind for a stumping.
Yes, she's chipping, and if Saxena has the craft and the skill, she might be able to hold one back, trying to beat Glasgow. But Glasgow has been comfortable chipping as well.
Full and wide should be signaled by the umpire. Has gone past the keeper. They have crossed for 2. And so we'll wait and see if there's any signal from umpire Laborde. So byes have been signaled, a bit harsh on the keeper.
Yeah, I think that one was really wide. A really wide delivery, but it also benefits Leeward, because that would have been an extra delivery.
And she's out stump. Exactly what I was referring to. Look for that shot, because she has been coming down the strip. She missed it. And Parker made no mistake in moving the bill, so Jamila Edwards has been out. She's stumped off the bowling of Saxena for 37.
I think that's Glasgow who goes stump for 37, and maybe it's what the bowler was trying a bit earlier, trying to go a little wider to try and defeat the batsman in flight, really. And a good wicket for Leeward at this time, because Glasgow was the set batter and who was looking to push the tempo on, and she has been removed, stumped by Parker for 37. A good inning though, Gary, by Glasgow, who came in early and who batted with some positive intent right through, and ran hard, sometimes ran a little bit bad, but I think in the end she put up a nice little total score for herself and for her team.
So Kiana Joseph has replaced Glasgow, who was just out stump. So the Windwards, they are 92 for 4. It's already a good score, bearing in mind that the Leewards batting has not been good throughout the season. So I'm sure they're satisfied with the performance thus far, and be looking to get in excess of 100 runs with just about 4.1 overs remaining.
I simply say sensible batting by Windward, really. Not taking too many risks, punishing bad balls when they come. In some cases, running really well. And they, at this point, looking to get beyond 100. I would say 120, 125 would be a total that they would feel comfortable with thus far.
So Amanda Edwards will continue from the far end, 3 overs, none for 6. So she's bowling to Poma, flatter, faster, into the onside. We're going to easy single as Davonique Maynard is on the mid-on, the long-on boundary. One more to the total. Homer with that single.
Let's go, ladies! Step on the Monday!
With that single.
Left,
On to
left!
93 at the start of over number 17. Homer has progressed to 9. She has faced some 16 deliveries. And the new batter,
There you
Kiana
go,
Edwards,
ladies! Still at it!
has taken guard and she'll be facing up to Amanda Edwards, who is in the final over. And she has bowled a tight spell, just 7 runs. So, force into the offside.
Run out!
Clark at cover point, couldn't stop it. Fielder down on the boundary. That's Richards coming across to her right and able to go through for a single. So with a single total
Let's go, ladies!
has gone on to 94. Projected score is 116. We have 3 overs remaining after this. So Homer has come into strike. Flatter, faster, swung away.
Only one man, only
Clark
one,
has
run
some running
out!
to do. They have cause for 1. They're coming back for the
One
second
box.
run. 2 more runs to the total. Takes it on to 96. And we're in over number 17. So with those 2 runs, Homer has progressed to 11.
Let's go, ladies!
She has faced some 17 deliveries. Flatter fast now outer edge down to third man. A bit of a fumbling by the fielder running back from the short third man area. And that's Claxton, Davana Claxton. And it calls for a single. So with that single, total has gone on to 98 for 4. So Edwards will continue in the final over, her final over from the far end. In the air and jumping in front of the fielder down on the boundary, look like Tazara Claxton. So a single to the total. These are gone on to 99. So Amanda Edwards, 1 delivery. Fourth over. Working it into the onside. That's Joseph. She has gone through for the first round, thinking about the second. And they should get it quite comfortably because the return from the Leewards fielders in the deep have not been too strong.
Yes, I think it was a comfortable 2 runs. I think the job by the fielder really was to cut it off, preventing 4, because she hit it up to the mid-wicket position. The fielder had to run from forward of square to cut that off, and it was a good shot by Kiana Joseph. Hit all along the ground, hit into the gap, and Windward pressing on. They are now 101 for 4, bringing up the first 100 total in this T20 Blaze tournament here in St. Kitts.
So Melissa Clark, who has been brought back into the attack, she had 2 overs, 1 maiden, none for 9. So she has replaced Saxena from the media center end. So it's 101 for 4. They have 18 deliveries remaining, 18 legal deliveries. And they should be looking to get at least 20 runs. And that certainly will put it out of the reach of the Leewards. Some person might be thinking the score is already out of the reach of the Leewards. So Clark will go in to bowl to Homer. That ball will be signaled by the umpire. So the remaining 3 overs they were looking to get as many runs as possible.
Yes, you mentioned 20 runs. I think that's a good ask, and if they could get better than that, probably 25, 30, I think it would even be more pressure on Leeward's batting that hasn't been so strong.
So it's Clark. And Homer is charging, then playing at a delivery wide outside the off stump, taken behind by the keeper. So delivery which was wide, and the batter Homer was giving the bowler the charge, and she just pitched it wide to be taken by the keeper.
I would say good thinking by the bowler in that situation. The batter was coming at her, and she pitched it wide.
Full delivery from the inner portion of the bat, went down to short fine leg, and they get a single. So with that single, total has gone on to 102 for 4 in over number 18. And Kiana Joseph, who is on 3 from 3, will be facing up to Melissa Clark.
And Kiana is one of those batters who has the ability to hit the ball really well, and Melissa would want to be very tidy and very tight to Kiana. Offline deliveries could disappear, but if she put them in the right spot, she will be looking for opportunity to contain Kiana Joseph. But we will want to keep an eye on this contest here, especially at this stage of the game.
So Joseph will be facing up to Clark. In the air. It's gone into the boundary for 4. Delivery on the center stump. And there was Joseph going into the big drive. She didn't get it. It came from the inner portion of the bat, but he had enough on it to go into the boundary for 4.
Well, I think is more importantly than she getting a hold of it, she got it into the gap, and which made the shot good, which made the shot safe. And I did mention that Kiana Joseph is one of those batters who wouldn't be afraid to take her chances. It's the late stages of the bowling attack, the last few balls left, and Kiana, if she gets going, could do some real damage to this Leeward bowling attack.
She's on 7. Slow delivery, punches down the ground. We get a single as Devana orders the captain. She feels one more to the total. Takes it on to 107 for 4. 107 for 4. The Windwards after winning the toss and batting. We're in over number 18. 2 deliveries remaining. Melissa Clark is in her 3rd over, none for 15. Homer is onto the front foot and just guides into the offside. We get an easy single.
Come on, ladies.
So they're doing it in singles. You've been thinking that they were looking to get some more boundaries, but we already saw a boundary being struck already in the over. So we have seen some 7 runs being scored so far in the over.
Yes, a boundary puts pressure on the bowler. And we'll see what Kiana Joseph can do here.
She's driving in the air. She has come too quickly for the first, thinking about the second. The fielder, that's the Davana Claxton came in, but she couldn't stop the second run. So 2 more to the total to up the end of over number 18, 110 for 4, the Windwards.
Well, you know, Gary, just like that, they were able to pick up 9 runs. The boundary really created the difference, and some good running there for that last delivery of the over, getting a 2. And just like that, you've picked up 9 runs. No real risk taken, nothing, no real indiscretion, just sensible batting and continue to pile on the pressure on the Leewards. Anything in excess of 120, I think, is going to be a very challenging total. We feel it's already a challenging total at 110 for 4, but 125, 126, 130 would even be a bigger challenge for the Leeward Island team.
Yes, and belatedly, Jazara Claxton has been brought back into the attack. For a moment, the players are not sure who is going to be bowling, and the Jazara Claxton will be bowling her 2nd over from the far end. Her 1st over cost some 11 runs. And she'll be looking to redeem herself in a situation where the batters will be looking to score as many runs as possible.
Yes, which tells me that the captain feels she has the ability to get the ball probably in the block hole to bowl those difficult deliveries to score off. She's going to present a bit of pace to the batters, and let's see if they are able to work with the pace to their own benefit.
So the current run rate is 6.11. The projected score is 122. So with the balls remaining, they can get up to 122. So we have some 2 overs, 12 balls remaining, and a runner ball will take them up to 122. They want to do better than that. Maybe take it up to 125, 130. Zara Claxton will want to prevent that from happening. The batter Homer is inside the wicket and turn it down towards short fine leg, where Richards fields one more to the total. Takes it on to 111. 111 for 4 at the start of over number 19. Maynard is bowling her second over, and the left-handed Kiana Joseph has come in to strike.
Well, what we haven't seen from the Windwards is looking to get really big shots. They seem to have settled for getting singles, and if they get a bad delivery, they will put it away, but they are not going after the bowling, which tells me that probably this is a plan that they have.
So Claxton will continue from the far end. Joseph is on 10 from 6, so he's scoring at a strike with over 100 in the air. Out of the reach of the captain, running away to a right from a straightish mid-wicket. A chance of a run out, but Homer gets back home. The batter was looking to swing into the onside, went high in the air, and the captain Willett was running away to a right from straightish mid-wicket down towards the mid-on area. Couldn't get to it to take the catch.
Yes, a miscued shot by Kiana Joseph when going up into the ear. The fielder did not get under it, but again, the Windward Island batters with some mix-up in the middle, but no damage done.
In the air will clear the field at straightish mid-wicket. They've gone for 1. Joseph is not interested in the second run, so maybe she want to keep the strike. So 1 more to the total.
I really think it's bad running by Kiana Joseph there. She should have been pressing hard for the first one and exploring the possibility of a second. But she just basically settled very, very early that it's going to be 1. And it's something for me that's creeping into the all cricket out in West Indies in all forms of our game.
Wide will be signaled now by Caroline Browns. Another extra to the total. Takes it on to 114. So a wide delivery. You don't want to be delivering wides at this point in time.
Not at all. But as we speak about the running, when I was growing up, one of the mark of a good batter in our days was somebody who not just could play shots, but somebody who will capitalize on every opportunity to get a run from you.
Claxton will bowl to Joseph. She has swung it down towards Anthony. She's on the forward square fence. She got an easy single. So the total has gone on to 115 with 2 deliveries remaining in over number 19. So the field changes over for the right-hander Homer. Homer is on 12. Is on 18 from 24.
Yes, we see Kiana seemingly looking a little bit disappointed, maybe thinking she should have dispatched that one over the boundary, but she would want to continue focusing and running hard as well.
Wide will be signaled by Caroline Brown, a bad delivery. So we've seen the bowler delivering 2 wides in this over here. Those are things that you want to ill afford. You don't want to give away the runs when you're already behind the 8 ball, and that's what Jazara Claxton has been doing in this over.
Yes, she hasn't been disciplined in this spell or even her opening spell. My suggestion would be just try and get it wide of the off stump. So if there's any movement, it's going back to the batsman.
On the leg stump, she's playing it down to straightish mid wicket, and total remains on 116. Partnership is 24 from 18.
Yes, Jazara just not lining up right. I would suggest, as I say, get it wide of the off stump. If there's some inward movement, which he seems to be getting a little bit of, it will be going towards the stump and not away.
In the air, over extra cover, and the captain will pull it back. They will get 2 runs. The batter Homer went after Claxton. He got it in the air, clearing the infield, and they were able to get 2 runs. And with that, the total has gone on to 116 at the end of 118 at the end of over number 19.
Yes, with 1 over left, we'll see how many the Windward Island batters can get from this over. I think 118 is already a good score. Let's see if they can get 10, maybe 12 from this over and put even more pressure on Leeward Islands. The bowler who will be bowling that final over is Melissa Clark, and let's see how tight or how measly she can be towards the Windward Island batters.
And let's see how aggressive Joseph will be in this final over. So they can get up to 125. Big drive. Dropping it in front of the captain at long off. She took it on the bounce, so 1 more to the total.
Well, Kiana has made her mind up that she's going to look to try and get to hit these balls over the top or out of the ground as much as possible.
So 119 with 5 deliveries remaining in the 28th over. Melissa Clark, he's in a 4th over, none for 19. Full delivery. Played it down to Claxton as straight as mid-wicket. Joseph was thinking about the stinger, but she was sent back by Homer. So a full delivery and I was not punished.
Yes, Clark got away with that. Homer really just should have hoisted it over short mid-wicket and she would have gotten 4.
Down the strip when she gets the chance as the ball ricochets from the boot of Clark and they get a single in the end, so 1 more to the total. Takes it on to 120 with 3 deliveries remaining in the over.
Well, truth be told, Gary, so far so good by Clark. It's only 2 runs from 3 deliveries sent down. And if she just would want to continue to keep it tight, but I think Kiana will look to get after her.
So she bowled to Joseph. Into the big swing. Taken on the thigh pad. And the keeper Parker coming around from behind the stumps. So a slow delivery. The batter was into the shot long before the ball arrived. And as a result, she was unable to connect.
Good thinking by Clark, knowing that Kiana is going to be looking to swing.
In the air. And it goes over the head of the fielder at long on for 6. So there was Joseph going into the big drive. And she got it just clearing the fielder at long on for 6.
Yes, it was a wider delivery, and Kiana Joseph just really extended her arms and hit it over the boundary for 6.
First 6 of the innings. Right up is swinging over the head of the fielder straight as mid-wicket. The fielder coming off the boundary. And they come back for a second run chance of a run out, but the return is a bit slow and weak. So 2 more to the total. It has gone on to 128. And the over has been completed as a matter of fact. 20 overs. After 20 overs, the Windwards winning the toss and batting. They made 128 for 4, a good total.
Yes, 128 for 4 from the 20 Windward, posting I think a good total to defend against a Leeward batting that is not very consistent, not very strong, if we are to be fair. And I think Windwards also have a fairly decent bowling attack. But the move for the Windward to send in Glasgow early, I think, paid off. She batted for most of the inning. She ran hard, in sometimes, as I say, a bit crazy, but it benefited the Windwards in the end in helping to post this total. In the middle, batters, the persons like Etienne and they who came and pushed the score on, put real good pressure on Leeward's bowling.
So we tell you, after 20 overs, the Windwards won the toss and batted, and they got to 128 for 4. So we will join in about 10 minutes when the Leewards reply.
Thank you, and good afternoon from Warner Park. Is it afternoon as yet?
Morning.
Morning still. Looks like afternoon. And we have been here for some time. We have seen one innings completed, one half of the match done. Windwards winning the toss and batting, and they scored 128 for 4. With Glasgow getting 37 from 49 deliveries. Etienne 24 from 19. Homer 21 from 28, and she was not out. Kiana Joseph was not out on 21 from 12. We have been told too that umpire Brown is incapacitated, and she has been replaced by umpire Thelma Gums. So the umpires officiating now, Gums and Laborde. And McCall, of course, the Windwards posted what is considered to be a pretty good total in the circumstances. Perhaps they might have left a few runs out there, though. And it's Clark, you see. Clark for the Windwards, and Sanel Willett, who has not really been troubling. In fact, it's well, I don't know if they've changed jerseys, but Melissa Clark normally carries the number 25. And here she's swinging to straight mid-wicket. And number for the Leewards, the other opener is Kimberly Anthony. So we'll get that sorted out in a while. They have Willett. And so it's not Willett, it's Kimberly Anthony, according to what I'm seeing in front of me, opening the batting. And I'm sure the correction will go up in a while, but it's Etienne from the far end.
Yes, Etienne has started for the Windwards.
Oh, and there's an edge and an appeal. In fact, and the finger goes up, and she's out leg before. Oh my goodness, that one certainly seemed to have struck Clark very high up on the thigh, as a matter of fact. And Gums, who has been called into action, umpire Thelma Gums, raised that finger immediately, but from my vantage point, looked like a very poor decision.
Yeah, it appears to have hit high on somewhere on the thigh, but the appeal was vociferous. It was sustained, but the finger went up really quickly by Gums. But in this game, if the umpire sends you, you walk, and Leewards have lost a wicket very early, chasing 128. They're already behind the 8 ball.
Yes, very unfortunate day for the Leewards. That one seemed to have struck very high. And the finger, without hesitation, the finger went up. Of course, there was a very vociferous appeal, but the umpire did not hesitate, and the finger went up, and Windwards immediately striking. So it's not for 1. And the new batter, Saxena, goes to the crease. Of course, we have been told that Brown, who started this match, umpire Brown, she is incapacitated, and she has been replaced by Gums, the third umpire. So 128 for 4, and Leewards losing an early wicket.
Yes, it brings to the crease Saxena, one of the players who would have gotten some runs for the Leewards in the Super 50. And they would be heavily dependent on her to spend some time at the crease.
Oh, and there's a wave there by Saxena at one outside the off stump. And it was taken behind, but at the end of over number 1, Leewards not yet off the mark. Not for 1.
Yes, they have lost an early wicket via the LBW route, and they would have to start getting some runs on the board if they are to get anywhere close to this 128. Etienne, though, I would say put the ball in the right places for most of that over. And she was able to bowl a maiden. She seems an aggressive customer as well, though, Earl, not being afraid to run down the track at the batters. But to continue the opening attack, it's number 73.
Yes, Kiana Joseph picks up the attack from the media center end. She's bowling left arm, orthodox leg spin. Kiana Joseph, who would have had a hat trick in the Super 50. Hat trick, of course, against, I think it was Guyana. She picked up that hat trick. And she's bowling now to Kimberly Anthony. So Windwards cock a hoop at this point. Short, banged over cover, out towards deep cover. And Homer is there. She feels a single. So first run there to the Leewards. Kiana Joseph using the new ball.
She's no stranger to things like that. I remember she being here for the 60 last year, and she had a big impact on that. She's a lady who makes things happen. She's quite, for me, a skilled bowler. And here she is bowling to Saxena, who's chopping that one backward point. Fielder tries to cut it off. There she has a quick return, and batters are only be able to settle for one. I find that was some really good feeling there at backward point. The fielder was quick, she was agile, getting down well, and cutting off a few runs for preventing the Leewards from having any more.
Yeah. Joseph continues though, and keeper fumbling a bit, and this has been one of the weak areas for the Windward Islands, the wicket keeping. They actually started with Marcelin, and then she was replaced by Fontaine, but Fontaine sustained an injury to a finger. I think it was the pinky finger on the left hand, and she in turn was replaced by Cassie Williams, who was behind the stumps at the moment. But here is one banged up to one of two extra covers, where it's fielded and there's no run. But certainly the wicket keeping for the win was not very good in the tournament so far. Kiana Joseph, I don't think, looking at Kiana Joseph, yes, she has picked up some wickets and she has gotten a hat trick, but somehow I sense that she has not been bowling at the right pace. I think at times she has been delivering that ball too slow.
Well, as I was alluding to earlier, I saw here in the 60 last year and the T20 tournament that was held here in St. Kitts, and she has a way about her that could, to me, lure batsmen into complacency. You would say that she's bowling a bit too slow, but sometimes that's an art. You want to sort of take pace off and ask the batter to create their own pace, and that sometimes is what helps you to get wickets. So she looks sometimes too slow, but I always recognize that she's always picking up wickets.
Yes, but we get back to that. She did pick up some wickets in the earlier matches, and since that she seemed to have gone through a drought in terms of picking up wickets. I think the final match she just picked up one wicket, and the previous one I don't think she was that successful. And what I've noticed is that the batters had enough time, once they wait on her, they had enough time to play her off the wicket, as opposed to Afi Fletcher, who gets a lot of bounce and turn and so on and poses more of a threat to the batters.
Well, again, we could view it that way. I sometimes tend to watch slow bowlers, and we sometimes think that they could bowl fast or they could bowl slow, and everybody has a different style. And for me, I sort of like Kiana's approach. It forces batters to create pace where there is none, and I think, to be frank, that a lot of our Caribbean players do not like that much time to think about a ball coming to them. But based on what you explained, the time for batters, maybe it can be a little faster through the air, just maybe.
He's shot up to widest long on for single by Anthony. So Leewards needed 129 to win from 20 overs. And immediately the asking rate is jumping. And it has gone up to 7.2, the required run rate.
Well, for the Leewards to challenge this total, they would have to use these power play overs to see if they can get some boundaries and get going at the Windwards total.
This one is going to help, definitely. Probably brushing the thigh pad. In fact, run signal there by umpire Gums. So 4 runs there to Anthony. Kimberly Anthony, and she will move to 5 with that. So Leewards moving on to 7 in the 3rd over. And,
well, an ill-directed delivery by Etienne down the leg side, and the umpire judging that she would have gotten some bat or glove to it, and she picked up 4 runs.
This is a good delivery outside the off stump. But what I've noticed though, there's a square leg for Etienne, who is for most part keeping the ball up to the bat. And I guess we'll get back to that. The over comes to an end. But in that over completed, I noticed that the fielder out was on the square leg boundary, just forward of square. And one wonders if that wasn't a wasted fielder based on line and length.
Yes, I feel it's releasing a bit of pressure on the Leewards, but that could possibly be just the captain using a little bit of protection for if she does err in length. Anthony seems very keen on deliveries that are shorter, and probably that's the thinking by the captain.
Well, might be the thinking by the captain. In fact, it seems as though the over is not completed. The umpire had called over. Umpire Gums, who is filling in. Umpire Thelma Gums, who has already made a decision, a rather dubious one, I think, for Clark. So she probably miscounted that time. And Etienne has one more delivery. The field has to be reset for Etienne, who comes in from the far end. And this one is punched into the offside. It's going out towards the cover boundary. Gets there now. It's a good shot by Anthony. 4 runs.
Well, I did mention that she seems very keen on shorter deliveries. Maybe the fielder should have been on the cover boundary rather than the square leg boundary. But nonetheless, a very good shot by Anthony. She stood and she just punched it in front of point for 4. A really good cricket shot. No real power, just good timing, good connection, and a shot of class for me.
Yes, certainly a good shot, and certainly I agree with you. The fielder could have been better utilized on the cover boundary as opposed to on the forward square leg boundary. Etienne has been bowling. She has bowled a few shortish deliveries, but her line has been just outside off stump or just about off stump. So certainly not good field placing there by Afi Fletcher. Here's Saxena looking for a single. But I've seen all of the matches for the Windward Islands in the Super 50 and have not been impressed at all with the captaincy of Afi Fletcher. fact, there were 2 games that they certainly could have done a lot better in, probably winning those games, probably against Jamaica, for example, and the game against Trinidad and Tobago. And I think it was poor captaincy on the part of Fletcher that really, let those games out of the bag. They were in position to win those games. Probably this is a good one. Struck what I would figure well in front. Well, from my vantage point, the only thing that might have been wrong there is whether or not it had pitched outside, but it seemed to have pitched onto me. And the batter was neither forward nor back. And Anthony was struck in front and given out leg before by Laporte.
Well, for me, well bowled by Joseph. You mentioned earlier about the lack of pace that Joseph bowls with, and I did say to you, she's probably asking batters to create that pace when they want to strike the ball. But this is what spinners are supposed to do. What she did, she would have bowled the over previous that you were concerned about the pace. That one was much quicker, and the batter was on the back foot, missing that one, and it was in line. So it tells me that Kiana Joseph is a thinking bowler. You may think that the pace is not so good. She's mixing that pace up to her liking. When she feels she needs to, she puts pace on it, and she's lining it up good. I like the way she goes about her business.
Well, my thing is that based on what I've seen in some matches, she certainly seemed to have been bowling at one pace all the time. There was not much variety in terms of pace, but certainly this one was a much quicker delivery, and the batter was caught in no man's land, and she was struck well in front, and certainly that was good thinking and good bowling that time by Kiana Joseph.
And and sometimes bowlers do think that they have assessed the pitch, and this particular pace may work best for the pitch. But here she is again.
This time this one is in the air. And the new batter seems to be Edwards.
And you realize that delivery was a lot slower again, outside the off stump, a little more flighted. I think it's just the way that she goes about it, and I like it.
Well, I have no problem with her bowling it slow, but my thing is, I've seen in a couple of matches where she was just, bowling at this one pace, and I felt, well, she was, a bit too slow really, but here she is showing a bit more variety and varying her pace well, and certainly that variation is what brought a success in this over that was just completed.
Right. Well, I wouldn't have seen the Windwards games. I would have done a Jamaica Barbados, so I was away from the Windwards game. This is the first game that I'm seeing, either in the Super 50 or the T20 Blaze. And so far, so good by her. They have picked up 2 wickets, and the Leewards are already struggling. And Etienne, who hasn't looked bad thus far, picking up a wicket, she will continue from the southern end.
So Etienne has been impressive throughout the tournament with the ball and with the bat. She has made some useful contributions. As I've said, she hasn't gotten into the 30s, as that she hasn't gone past 20s, but she certainly has been very useful with scores of 25, 22, and so on, getting into the 20s, and even probably getting into double figures at times, lending some respectability to the Windward Islands total. So she certainly has been a very useful player for the Windwards. But there's another good delivery. And, of course, Afi Fletcher is persisting with the square leg homer right back on the boundary. There's also a long on back on the boundary. Those are the two fielders outside the circle, but one wonders if the cover sweeper wouldn't have been a better option, as this one is stayed into the offside.
Yes, and Glasgow was really quick onto that one. In terms of the captaincy of Fletcher, I'll have to watch how she operates in this particular game. I wouldn't be able to judge as well as you would be, who have been at most of the games the Windwards have played.
All of the games so far. As this one is tugged down to long on. Noel comes from off the boundary to field, and a single to Saxena. I would have seen all of the games, and as I've said, there were 2 games which I thought the Windwards should have won, against Trinidad and Tobago and against I think it was Jamaica. Jamaica scored just 105 runs, and that 105 should have been probably 70 runs at the most. Fletcher came into the attack first over. She picked up a wicket. She continued to bowl another over and then took herself out of the attack. And a little later on, she came back from the other end, bowled 1 over, picked up a wicket in that over, and then took herself out of the attack for a while. And in the end, she came back and continued through a spell when Jamaica had settled and started the partnership. And she ended up with 6 wickets in that match. And she was by far the best bowler in that match. She was getting grip, she was getting bounce, and she was on target, and she was bowling well. And it was felt that she should have continued. And in the end, they lost that game by 8 runs. 105 runs and losing by 8 runs, just scoring some 97 as the over comes to an end.
Well, we'll have to see what her decision making would be like today. So far, she's the going has been good. Leeward Islands 13 for 2 from 5, and they're chasing a total of 129 for victory here against the Leewards are chasing 129, and this brings our fellow commentator Gary Pemberton into the booth, and Glasgow comes into the attack for the Windwards.
Well, the Leewards have already lost 2 wickets. And both wickets are going down via the LBW route.
55. Sorry, Zadia James.
Short and swung into the onside. They have crossed for 1. And the difference between the Leewards batters in terms of running between the wickets, they're not prepared to take the first run quickly to put pressure on the fielders. We saw when the Windwards batted, some of the batters were able to take the first one quickly.
Yes, and they had a couple of 3s and quite a number of 2s, but James continues.
Flutter, faster. She's looking to swing it into the onside. Came from the under portion and went bouncing down towards back of the square. So the Leewards in a spot of bother, and the current run rate is 2.63, and the required run rate is 7.84. They need 115 from 88, and Amanda Edwards is standing up to a full height and plays it down into the offside.
My observation so far for Edwards, she's not keen on moving her feet, neither back nor forward. It seems like she's willing to stand and deliver.
James forced into the offside by Edwards. Down towards the boundary, and it will cross the ropes. Now for 4, a good shot. Delivery on the off stump, and there was the vice captain of the Leewards team punching through the covers for 4.
Yes, she got 4 runs, a shorter ball, again standing full height and just hitting it through extra cover quite powerfully, and picking up 4 runs as the Leeward continue their quest to chase down 129 for victory here against the Windwards.
So 111 they require at a required rate of 7.74. Zeta James, flutter faster, and Amanda Edwards forced into the offside. We're going to single eventually as the fielder at extra cover didn't stop it cleanly, and they were able to add the single draw. So they got a single, so the total moves on by 1 to 19. You know, the 6th over, 1 delivery remaining. So Zeta James around the wicket. Taking the paddle loud appeal, she's given out. So the Leewards continue to fall here at Warner Park. At delivery just on about the center stump. And the batter came forward, struck on the pad, the appeal went up. And the umpire Laborde raised the judge's finger. And the Leewards are 3 down for 19.
Yes, another one goes, LBW. Playing across that one. She seemingly wasn't pleased with the decision. Seemingly the impression seems like she may have gotten an edge on it. I heard 2 sounds from here, but the umpire in the best position. Her hand went up immediately, and which might have been pad them bat, and the Leeward struggles on in their chase for 129 for victory.
So the Leewards in the first game would have lost their 3rd wicket on 3. They're doing a little better. They lost their 3rd wicket on 19.
Yes. 19 for 3, not a good position. But again, cricket and batting, it's about partnerships. Can Willett, the captain and the vice captain, build a partnership here? So when they were on 19, they were 7 wickets down in the previous game. So doing a lot better, but would want to improve from here on out, Gary.
So there's been a change of bowling at the far end. It looks like Noel, Karina Noel, is the new bowler. She has replaced Etienne. Etienne had 3 overs, 1 for 10. So she'll be coming in to bowl too. So you have the vice captain and the captain in the middle. You don't want a better combination than that.
Yes, responsibility. And let's see if they could take it on their shoulders and move Leewards forward.
And there is Edwards driving into the outside. We get a stinger. She hesitated slightly because she thought that Joseph would have gotten around. But he went past and he got a single. So with that single, total has gone to 20 at the start of over number 7.
Yes, 20 for 3.
Delivery where Willett is inside the stumps and turn it around the corner. No run. So the total remains on 20 for 3 in over number 7. I think that Smith is trying to mislead me. I think the person of extra cover is Joseph. Full delivery, punished for 4. It was a full delivery. No ball has also been signaled, so they get a free hit. So 5 runs will be added to the Leewards total.
Yes, a good shot. It was a high full toss, and Willett got inside the line and helped it around quite easily for 4. And she also has the opportunity to cash in on a free hit, and one would see how she goes about it. I haven't seen too many players who have gotten no balls, capitalize as well as I would have liked in this tournament so far. But let's see if Willett can do something good for the Leewards with this free hit.
So she has an opportunity to make use of this free hit. Let us see what will happen. And she swung it into the onside, but it goes straight down to the fielder on the Fowler Square fence. And a single to the total. That's Kimon Homer at the Fowler Square. 1 more to the total. It's gone on to 26 for 3 in over number 7. And it is Noel bowling her first over. She has conceded some 7 runs so far.
Yes, and Willett so far has looked positive, and she has joined Edwards. So let's see if again both senior persons in the Leeward team can build a partnership. It's what's required. Then they would need to think about building partnerships. Sometimes some players say they try to do it in numbers of about 10, and we keep building on that. But let's see if these two can put a good one together for the Leewards.
In the air, down towards the cover point boundary, a single as the fielder came in. And 1 more to the total. On the boundary. So 1 more to the total, 27 with 1 delivery remaining in over number 7. And Willett is in behind it, pushed it down on the offside. So 7 gone, 27 for 3, the Leewards.
Yes, 27 for 3, Leewards chasing a total of 129 for victory. The Windwards making early inroads into the Leewards batting lineup, picking up 3 wickets thus far, and they have been picking up wickets regularly. And James will be the bowler in operation, and she picked up a wicket in her last over. Will seek to pile more pressure on to the Leewards batting. 2 of the senior players here, and we'll see how they could continue building. An observation for me though, Gary, not very often I've seen in this tournament a batter without a helmet.
Outside the off stump, and the batter was looking to force into the offside. So Willett is batting without the helmet. There's a medium pacer coming from the far end. Azalea James will go around the wicket. And the batter was onto the back foot, came from the inner portion of the bat, and the ball went anxiously behind her.
Well, I also know, Gary, that there's been a new rule by the ICC that from the 1st of June, Willett will no longer be able to do such.
Outside the off stump, he's forced it into the offside. But I was reading the ruling, and the ruling said fast bowlers.
Only fast bowlers. And in dangerous positions.
Fast bowlers. Swung away for 4 off the hand of the fielder at backward square, and she's down. She might have gotten a hard blow on her left hand, maybe her thumb finger, and it goes into the boundary, but it was powerfully struck.
Yeah,
Amanda Edwards.
Edwards thumped it. Yeah, she struck the ball ferociously, and the fielder at backward square, seemingly, I don't know where it struck her, but it seemed to have done some damage. She went down immediately, and she stayed down, and we see the physio immediately attending to her. And just as we were speaking about safety and not wearing a helmet or wearing a helmet to fast bowlers, we see a fielder not close in being struck, and happy to see that she's already on her feet. It appears to be Crafton. We are uncertain which player it is, but she's appears to be leaving the field.
So the substitute fielder has come onto the park, and the substitute fielder is Amaya Gilbert. So she is replacing the fielder who was struck on her left hand by a powerfully shot from Amanda Edwards.
Work hard, Z, work hard.
So it's 31 for 3, and the Leewards are hoping that these two can put on a good partnership. They're currently going at 4.04, and then for the 98 from 74 balls. So Zeta James will continue from this tee. Media center end. Around the wicket. Forces into the offside, goes down to extra cover. It is fielded by Saint Jean, Abini Saint Jean at extra cover. Around the wicket, swinging it into the onside, will go to for a single. As the fielder coming in off the boundary, that's look like Gilbert, no, Glasgow, sorry. So one more to the total. So the over has been completed, and the Leewards are 32 for 3 after 8.
32 for 3. Amanda Edwards and Willett seeking to do some recovery. Amanda is on 12. Willett is on 5, and they are moving along. I would say at a moderate pace at this time, but seems like a lot would rest on the shoulders of Amanda Edwards and Willett to try and get close to that total.
Currently scoring at 4. The required weight is 8.08. A delivery where Amanda Edwards was standing up to her full height, looking to push into the offside, went into her pads.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, Amanda Edwards is not one who seemed too keen on too much foot movement. She basically stands from her position and plays. In this case, we kind of plays with more of the bat than anything else. She's not looking to get her feet too much involved in play. But it has been effective for her thus far in this inning, and we'll see how best she can continue picking up runs for the Leewards.
She's on 12 from 21. Well, it is on 5 from 4. And from the reaction of the bowler, it seems as though that the keeper would have put that down at delivery outside the off stump, and Amanda Edwards was playing at it, and the keeper, Cassie Williams, couldn't hold on.
Yes, and if that was a delivery that took the edge, I found that would have been a straightforward chance. But if that's the case, it means Edwards live to fight on.
Noel. Edwards is driving, goes down to mid-off. There was a bit of a hesitation, but the run was completed in the end as the fielder at mid-off didn't pick it up cleanly. That's Crafton. Narissa Crafton at mid-off. So the captain, Sanelda Willett, is in strike. On top of it, guiding it down towards backward point, where Zeta James is in the way she feels. So Willett is mindful of the fact that she has not gotten amongst the runs so far for this season. I would want to bat as many overs as possible for her team. 96 required from 67 balls at 8.60. Driving, we get a single. As it goes down to long on. Amanda Edwards thinking about the second. So one more to the total as the 9th over has come to an end. 34 for 3, the Leewards.
Yeah, going at a moderate pace, and you mentioned that Willett not getting amongst the runs thus far for the season, and there's one way to do so, and that's be at the crease. You stay there and you keep batting, and batting positively, runs will come. At some point though, the Leewards will have to start thinking about upping the scoring rate if they are to challenge the total that has been presented to them.
Zeta James will continue. She'll bowl 2 overs, 1 for 11. Bowling the other bowler from the far end. Currently the rate is 3.78 around the wicket. Onto the back foot, plays it into the offside, goes down to extra cover. St. George in the way. So the Leewards are aware of the fact that they need to stay in the middle. The captain and the vice captain are out there. She's onto the back foot, forcing to the offside. Hesitation.
Eyes on it,
St. George extra cover. So again, he's a single in the end. And with that single, the total has gone on to 36. 36 or 35 for 3 in over number 10.
Brings the powerful Edwards on strike.
Edwards is onto the back foot, just pushed it back down the strip on the onside. Zeta James moves across to her right. She picks up. Total remains on 35 in over number 10. 3 deliveries remaining around the wicket. And Edwards is onto the back foot. She has to be careful. If one of those deliveries would keep a little low, she could find herself in a spot of bother.
Yes, but she'll just remind herself to keep playing straight, and she would feel she'll be safe doing so.
Forces into the offside. They have gone for the first run, and they will just settle for the single. So one more to the total. It's Kimon Homer. She's at the deep cover boundary with a single. Total has gone on to 36 for 3, with 1 delivery remaining in the 10th over, scoring at 3.66. Asking rate has gone above 9, taking on the pad to bring up the end of the 10th over. So after 10, the Leewards, they are 36 for 3 in search of 129 to win.
Yes, 36 for 3. And certainly in a much better position today than they were yesterday when they were 19 for 7. Eventually getting to some 60, 69 runs. Partnership of some 49 runs between it was Parker and The other batter, of course, being for the Leewards, Parker and that's Terrace Parker and Glasgow. Parker getting 22 and Glasgow getting 19. But there are some positive signs out there for the Leewards, Gary. The captain, Sinelda Willett, who is yet to get into double figures for the season. She is on 7. She's looking positive. She has managed to hit a boundary. I don't think she has hit a boundary. I'm not too certain if she has hit a boundary in the tournament so far, but certainly she has struck a good boundary. And she's looking positive. And this is a good sign for the Leewards, the captain and vice captain out there. And as I said, looking positive. But I think the Edwards, or the vice captain, is a bit slow. She is going at less than, strike rate is less than 50 at this stage, which is not very good in a 20-over match. And she would have to try and up the tempo a bit. Probably one of the shortcomings of the Leeward Island batters is that they're not playing with soft hands, which would enable them to pick up singles, and thus, there's an increase in the dot ball percentage for the Leeward Islanders. But as we speak, we are seeing another change. Umpire Graves is the one going out there now to replace umpire Gums, who made what I would consider to be a very important decision when she gave Melissa Clark out leg before. Rather dubious decision. I think that one would have struck Clark on the thigh rather high. And Clark, of course, is a tall girl. And the finger went up immediately. A bit of misfortune there for the Leewards, but umpire Graves is out there now to replace her.
Yes, so we have seen some questionable decisions. Well, one for sure in the Leewards innings, and Melissa Clark was a bit shocked to see that the dreaded finger was raised by umpire Gum. So we're now seeing, I was just about to ask you if you are surprised that Afi Fletcher has not brought herself into the attackers yet, but now she's coming from the far end. In the first game, she would have gotten some 4 wickets. And let us see if she will let Chuck turn and bounce out of the strip.
I am surprised, Gary. In fact, while I was there looking at the game, just back of you guys, the thought was going through my head. It was that she should have been the first change. Yeah, she has been the key bowler for the Windward Islands. She has been able to extract, turn and bounce, much more so than Kiana Joseph, for example. And I would fully agree with you. I don't know if that's your assessment that she should have been in the attack earlier, but I fully endorse that she should have been in earlier.
She's in the attack now. And Amanda Edwards is onto the back foot and just pushed it down to extra cover. So let us see what will happen to the cover on the boundary. And Fletcher is bowling her first over from the far end. Good sunshine here at the Warner Park Stadium.
Perhaps Fletcher feels that she has quite a bit of runs to play with, so there was no need to come into the attack early.
At the same time that you want to keep the pressure on the batters. If you're the bowler who has been getting wickets, then you want to come in early and put some pressure on the Leewards batters.
Well, Fletcher does not seem to be the sort of captain who likes to apply pressure to teams. From what I've seen of her so far, she tends to ease the pressure when she has the foot on the jugular.
So the required rate has jumped up to 9.79. And the captain Willett, or that's Vice Captain Edwards, stretching and pushed it into the offside. So Fletcher has bowled some 4 deliveries. No runs have been scored thus far. Playing over number 11.
Edwards' strike rate just below 50. Gets a boundary here now. But certainly she needs to get a move on at this stage.
Yes, I delivered on the center leg stump and she swung it down towards mid wicket. I think there's Homer made an effort to stop it. She fell, maybe fell awkwardly in the process. And now we're seeing the physiotherapist for the Windwards team. She's still rolling in pain just outside the boundary ropes down at mid wicket.
Yes, and of course the Windwards would have already lost the player Marceline, who had to leave the field. The ball which was struck powerfully, a turn probably taking it on the finger and causing some sort of injury. So Marceline is off and Homer down on the far eastern side, the southeastern side. She's down on the ground still. I see the physio applying some pressure to the leg, so it could very well be some sort of leg injury. And we are hoping that it's just cramps as opposed to pull muscle or pull hamstring.
It looked like she's the hamstring. That's where the physiotherapist is massaging. So maybe she might have pulled up as she was trying to stop that. So we're seeing the stretcher being brought out on the field of play. So the Windwards will be down another player.
Yeah, certainly. Homer having to, well, she would be stretchers out in a while. And stretcher had to go a very long way from basically from one corner of the field to the next. It's to travel some distance. And it seems as though it's the hamstring there, and that's not good news for the Windward Islands. And they've had injuries, a number of injuries. Fontaine, one of the earlier wicket keepers, she would have replaced Marceline in the second match in the Super 50s. Fontaine was injured. She had a finger injury, and she had to be replaced in the team by Cassie Williams. And now we had Marceline being injured earlier on today, and she's off the field, and it's Homer who is going to be stretchered off in a while. So held up in play, but back to the state of the game. Leewards, in terms of score, in terms of the scoreboard, are not doing too badly, 40 for 3. But in terms of the required run rate, very much up against it at this point. Over 9 runs per over required. And the vice captain Edwards, who has been there for some time, she has been going quite slowly. And as Noval would have commented on the fact that she's just standing on the liver. She's not using her feet, and she is not playing with soft hands either. She is just standing there looking to whack it through the offside, and she's not looking to pick up singles. I see Edward going on to the field now. So the second substitute for the Windwards, Edward, going on to the field. So
let's work,
there she goes, Homer, being stretched off.
So we're about to see the resumption after that break, an injury to Homer down on the mid-wicket fence. So Afi Fletcher has 1 delivery remaining in her first over, 4 runs. That last ball was struck powerfully by Amanda Edwards, 18 from 31. And required rate 9.71. Onto the back foot, forces, bounces into the offside.
But Gary, though, despite the fact that we might be saying that the Leewards might be going a bit slow towards their target, I think it would do the Leeward Islands confidence. It would be a good shot in the arm if they could even get close to this total, if they could bat out the 20 overs. Of course, yesterday they batted out the 20 overs, but they didn't get a very good score. But if they could these challenges total. Even if they lose, they say it's not just about losing, but how you lose. You know, I think they could get something out of this game.
Well, the captain and vice captain are the two in the middle. Zeta James, the ball to the captain down towards the final area. It will go close to the boundary. And a poor effort by the substitute Edwards, and she couldn't stop it. So 4 more to the total. It has gone on to 44.
And Willett, of course, would be happy. I think it's for the first time this season. She would have moved into double figures. So that is a good sign there for Willett. And she's going at a good rate too. She's just over, her strike rate is just over 100. But in this inning so far, she's looked positive.
Well, she would have to be positive. She's the captain, and she has not been batting. She has not been making a lot of runs onto the back foot. She's forces down to Abina Senja at extra cover. And the total remains in 44 for 3 in over number 12, scoring at 3.88, 9.81 as the required rate. Onto the back foot, looking to force into the offside, misses, taken behind by the keeper.
Willett has looked good, but Edwards need to up her tempo a bit. And upping your tempo doesn't necessarily mean you go for big shots, but you try to rotate the strike. There are gaps in the field.
Outside the off stump, wide, and Captain Willett, the shoulders armed, and allowed to go through to be taken by the keeper, Cassie Williams. So she's mindful of the fact that they have to score 129 if they had to win. Already we need 85 from 50, and swinging into the boundary for 4, another 4 to Sanaldo Willis. So maybe it's the day. This is the day for Sanaldo, another short ball, and she made full use of it. And that total has gone on to 48.
Yes, that's a very good shot indeed. It was short, but you have to put them away. And she really swung it powerfully, just backward of square to the left of Edward, who is at deep square leg, and got 4. Here's one in the ear, and she is out.
Yes, she was looking to play across the line of that delivery from James and took the outer portion of the bat, went behind the ear, and Zeta James running across to her left took a good catch. So the Leewards captain has been dismissed, Boland caught Zeta James for 15.
Yeah, I think that one might have kept a trifle low on Willett too, and she was playing across the line. It took a leading edge, and it was in the air for some time. And Zeta James ran to her left into an extra cover position and took a very good catch. So a good blow struck there by the Windward Islands. And just as you were saying that this might be Willett's day, right on cue, she got out, and as they would say, commentators curse.
So Jazara Claxton has replaced her captain. So Jazara Claxton, as we all heard, is a good all-around sport lady.
Yes, she's good all around. She's an athlete.
She plays football as well.
Exactly. She's one of the better female footballers in St. Kitts. I think she actually went to the Carifta Games.
Yes, she would have won medals as well. Edwards is driving. We get a single. So 1 more to the total, but the required rate has jumped above 10, so certainly the Leewards will be under pressure.
Yes, and Edwards, as I said, she really needs to get a move on. She really needs to up the tempo a bit. Back to Jazara Claxton. She, of course, still a schoolgirl, went to South Africa with the West Indies on the 19 team for that tournament. And a good all-round sports person. Zadia James is also a student. She's also in school. In fact, I think she would have written some exams here just a couple Fridays ago. when we were at Connery. She was not in the team. I understand that she wrote some exams, I think CXE, on that day. Claxton too has been writing exams during this tournament.
So a delivery outside the off stump, and Claxton will be just playing inside the line of that delivery, taken behind with the keeper. So with the advent of technology, you can go around the world and still be able to do your exams.
Yeah, certainly. And with it being a Caribbean thing now, CXE.
Outer edge, down to third man. They have called for 1, and they will get 2 runs as they return a bit wide. So 2 to Jazara Claxton, she's off the mark. And with those 2 runs, 50 for the Leewards coming up.
Yes, 50 for 4. 51 in fact for 4. But the asking rate a bit on the tough side, over 10 runs per over. And Windward certainly have things under control.
Fletcher, the captain. And Claxton is swinging to the onside. They have trotted through for a single, and she's not interested in the second one. And Amanda Edwards, she was ball watching. I think if she had gone for the first one quickly, they could have challenged the fielder down on the fence for a second one.
Well, both batters were a bit lethargic. Claxton herself, she didn't really take off with any urgency for the first run. And, this has been one of the shortcomings of the Leeward Islands team. We have seen them play ball into the deep. And when they probably should be thinking in terms of 3, they're just running a single.
So Edwards is pushing it back down the strip. So we're in over number 13, 1 delivery. So we're seeing some 4 runs coming from the over so far, but the required weight is in excess of 10. So they have to get on with it if they're going to get close to the total. Edwards is driving in the air, but it goes down to long on for an easy single to bring up the end of over number 13. At the end of it, Leewards 52 for 4.
Yes, 52 for 4, and Leewards really not in a very good position at the moment. They have lost 4 wickets, but the key thing there for the Leeward Islands is the asking rate, the required run rate over 10, and in the matches we have had so far, no team has managed to score at anything close to 10 runs per over in any one of the games. 10 runs over, of course, in a 20-over game would give you 200 runs. And we have not seen the ability of the batters in the game so far. We have had Dusko. In fact, today was the first time we have seen a team going over the 100 mark. Prior to that, 88 was the highest. And today, we had Windwards scoring 128. So it's very unlikely that they're going to get close to the score. 7 overs left. And they need another 70, 75, 76.
So Noel has been brought back into the attack, and he goes for a single. That's Amanda Edwards just pushing it down to the long on. So we're at the start of over number 14, and then he's 76 from 42 balls, and the required weight is 10.86. They're scoring at 4.0 runs per over, 4.08, 4.10. The required weight 10.98. Claxton is on 3. She has faced some 3 deliveries. Noel is in her 3rd over. Onto the back foot, forced it into the offside. We get a single. As the fielder moves across to her left, that looks like the captain, Afi Fletcher. And so the total moves on by 1. That's not Fletcher, that is like Zeta James. So 1 more to the total, 55 in over number 14. And Noel is bowling from the media center end. 2 singles have been scored so far off the over. They would need more than singles if they had to challenge the total that has been set by the Windwards.
Yes, at 10 runs for over the required run rate. Probably in normal circumstances in another setting, you would give the team a chance still with some 4 wickets down, but in this female game, there's hardly a chance for the team, and they're back for the second run, and that could have been close.
A diving effort from Zara Claxton, but the bowler Noel didn't hold the ball, so she dropped it. So they were able to get 2 runs. So with those 2, the score has gone on to 57, with 2 deliveries remaining in over number 14. They need 72 from 38. So it's creeping up to over 11 runs per over. Short. Edwards is in behind it, pushed it back to the bowler. So Edwards has been there for some time. She's faced some 39 deliveries. She's done 23. So she needs to up the tempo. In behind a good delivery, push it into the offside. So over number 14 has been completed, and the Leewards 57 for 4.
57 for 4. I don't think that the Leewards, I don't think they're giving themselves a chance at this stage, and the required run rate has shot up to 12 at the end of over number 14. 6 overs in which to get some 72 runs, and I don't think it's going to happen for the Leewards today. What they could try and do is to try and push on to perhaps try and get past the 100 mark.
With 6 overs remaining, it might be kind of difficult for them to score another 42 runs in 6 overs. They've just been going at just about or just under 4 runs per over for the entire innings.
Yes, even that is difficult to do, but at least they could aim towards that. Perhaps that could be a moral booster, but the way they're going does not suggest that they're going to get close to 100.
So the captain Fletcher will continue from the far end. 2 overs, none for 9. Claxton getting the delivery, spinning back in towards her. She was onto the back foot and pushed it back on the strip. She probably was looking to give herself room to play into the offside, but the ball spun back in towards her, and she just pushed it back on the strip on the offside. Flighted. And Claxton is driving down to long off for an easy single. Singles will not do it because the required weight is already over 12 runs per over. So they need to be hitting boundaries if they have to get close.
I don't think we have seen a boundary in recent times.
So a change in the field. We have the extra cover, there's a long off. There's a cover on the boundary slip, short back or square. Forces into the offside, goes down to extra cover. So the total remains on 58 for 4 in over number 15. Fletcher is in a 3rd over, 10 runs. She has conceded. In the air, goes on the bounce down to the fielder. That's Etienne on the cover boundary. But that's not Etienne, that's his Glasgow.
That's it, let's keep, finish strong.
And they get a single. So with a single total has gone to 59. So the left-handed Jazara Claxton, who's on 5 from 6, she has come into strike. 2 deliveries remaining in the 15th over. And it's really slow going for the Leewards.
Yes, very slow indeed. And
caught brilliantly. It was Claxton onto the back foot looking to force into the offside. The ball came from the outer portion of the bat, and a good catch by Josepha Slips. She put up her left hand and it stuck, and the Leewards have lost their 5th wicket.
Yes, a very good catch indeed. It was peeling off the outer portion of the bat and to the left of Kiana Joseph, which is a good side. And she plucked it from the one-handedly. A very good catch indeed. But certainly it went to a right side, or left side, sorry, which is a good side. and she roped in a very good catch. So Leewards, they are not getting the runs, but they are losing the wickets, 59 for 5. That looks like Parker going to the crease. No, but Leewards, they're not going anywhere. They seem to be stuck in molasses at the moment.
So good partnership in the first game between Parker and Richards. And Parker made 22 from some 43 deliveries. Richards made 19 from 35. So we just have about 5.1 overs remaining. So 31 deliveries remaining in this game. And the required rate has gone up past 13 at 13.55. They're scoring at 3.98. So we've seen 2 runs and a wicket in this over. Coming forward to bring up the end of over number 15. 15 gone. Leewards, they are 59 for 5.
Yeah, so 59 for 5. Leewards really struggling at this point. And Parker, she has just gone to the crease, and she is partnering Edward. But I think Edward she has been there for a while. But she's been rather slow in her approach, and she has not been rotating the strike. She's not picking up singles, and perhaps her presence there has really slowed the Leewards a lot too, despite the fact that she's not out. But it's Noel who bowls this over from the media center end. And the Novel is back with me. Novel certainly, Edwards, as you describe her, she's a stand and deliver player. Not much foot movement, does not play with soft hands, does not look to work the ball into the gap, does not look to pick up singles.
Yes, she's a stand and deliver sort of player. She's in a sense waiting for the shot that she plays well, probably a pull or the slap into the offside, and she's not a finesse player by any means, not a top hand player, just looking to whack the ball when the opportunity presents itself, and it's something that the management and coaching staff will have to work on with her technique, and she has utilized 45 balls for her 24, and you mentioned about the slow going. That speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's right, and for most parts she has been going at just about strike rate has been just about 50 runs per over, which in a 2020 match is extremely so. It's ultra slow.
Yes, I think it's really down to the way she plays. She's not getting what she wants, and that inability to rotate the strike on a regular basis would basically continue to slow her down. The Windwards are not. Noel and the other bowlers are not consistently presenting boundary deliveries, short balls to cut or pull, and Edwards would have to figure it out. And she's partnered with Parker, who in one of the 50-over game would have scored some runs.
In fact, in the game yesterday, she would have scored some runs. I think she would have gotten in the partnership. She would have gotten some 22 runs yesterday. I'll get that score for you in a while.
And that was a wide delivery by Noel down the leg side. Noel would not want to give any bonuses to the Leewards team. She has so 4 balls, 3.4 overs for 17 runs, and this is a short one. Backing on the back foot is Parker punching up to extra cover, no run. You were mentioning about the partnership yesterday.
Yeah, so they would have added some 48 runs between them, with Therese and Parker getting 22.
Here is Noel short. Parker is back pulling that one top edge down to fine leg. But the fielder coming in would not be able to catch it. She returns, and that brings about the end of the 16th over. The Leeward Islands 63 for 5. Edwards on 25 from 46.
Yeah, so as I was saying, they would have put on a good partnership. So she has some batting ability, but with the current score on 63 for 5 though, and the asking rate going up to 16.5. Certainly, they're very much up against it at this point, the Leeward Islands, and of course with Edwards 25 from 46 deliveries, she's set, and one would think that she would, look to try something more at this juncture, at least try to get the score as close to 100 as possible. Fletcher will continue from the far end, and it's a good delivery to one which spins into Parker, but I get the impression though that the Leeward Islands, they're just looking to bat out time.
Yeah, a further 66 required from 23, and the approach hasn't really changed, which means, as you suggested, they're probably looking to not be bowled out more than an attempt to win this encounter. The Windwards pretty much on top, and Affy Fletcher, the captain, just piling on even more pressure with her leg spinners and googlies.
The Leewards, of course, were not bowled out yesterday, but he is a good swing up to mid-wicket, up to Glasgow by Parker. She gets a single, but they were not bowled out yesterday, but they only got some 68 runs for 7. Of course, they were at one stage in a very embarrassing position of 19 for 7, and looked as if they might have been bowled out for less than 25 at that point, but they managed to get to 68.
And this is what I'm talking about, Parker standing and not using her feet. That was a short ball, and if Parker would have just moved inside the line of the ball, she could have helped that down to backward square for 4.
I suspect you mean Edwards.
Sorry, Edwards, please forgive me.
Yes, certainly. She's not. There's no feet movement, and Noval, in cricket, feet movement doesn't necessarily mean you chip down the wicket. It's how you manipulate your feet in the crease, whether you go back and across. You put yourself in position to manipulate the ball, whether to pick up singles, but this one is played into the onside, into the deep mid-wicket position by Edwards. She would have gotten something that she would have liked there. It was short and she pulled it into the onside.
Yes, in that situation it was short and a little wider, so she could use her hands. She plays more with her hands than feet. It's a situation of getting closer to the ball. If you want to go deeper in the crease, it allows you more time to pull or hit the ball into the spaces that you want. I suspect Edwards would require a little more work, because I think she has something to work with. Getting to 26 from 49 in a T20 game is not good because of the pace, but she has some batting ability, and with time and work, I think she could develop into a player that could create some problems.
Yes, certainly, and the fact that she has lasted some 49 deliveries shows that she has the ability to concentrate, which is probably 90% of a batter's skill. If you can't concentrate, you can't last out there.
Yes, you must focus on what you have to do, and the bowler in action now is Kiana Joseph, who has been fairly tight. She's bowled 2.1 overs, 3 for 1, and I suspect Kiana will be looking to prize out the wicket of Edwards, and do not be surprised if you see a few flighted deliveries at Edwards, inviting her to try and hit down the ground, forcing her maybe to hit in the ear or something of that nature.
Well, Affy Fletcher has opted to put herself into first slip, looking for the catch, but this one is short. And the punch down to Etienne, who comes off the long off boundary, and a single. But as you've said, and especially being an opening batter, well, no, I'm wrong. I don't think she opened the innings today. She would have come somewhere in the middle. But certainly, as you rightly put it, there's something there to work with, and we still have to bear in mind that the Leeward Islands female cricket is still in its infancy stages.
Yes, they may have had a few tournaments, but the cricket within the Leewards is not developed. And there is Parker looking to cut one, taking a bottom edge and running down to the third man boundary. They have turned for some 2 runs. They would not be able to get a third. And taking the total onto 68. 68, I think it is, for 5. They require another 61 from 15 deliveries. But as you speak of the cricket, I was saying that there haven't been tournaments within the Leeward. There haven't been many games played between the islands. And I think within this team there are some islands that would have no representation because they would not have teams. So it is for the Leeward Island, and that one is dropped there in mid-wicket. That one was hit hard to short mid-wicket, but I think it was straight in and straight out.
Yes,
and that's a drop catch.
St. Jean, they're guilty of putting that one down, but I think you would be right that there would be no representation from countries in the Leewards. And here is another one put down there by Kiana Joseph for own bowling. It was played back in the air. She was diving forward and the grass it. But I don't think, I'm not too certain if I don't think there are any monstrations on this team up, probably no Anguillans either.
No, so
I don't know if there's any cricket being, female cricket being played in any of these islands, or if there are any female cricketers available.
Right, and hence I said the Leeward Islands Cricket Board and management would have some responsibility in encouraging and developing the game in each of its member territories, and it is their responsibility to find ways and means to encourage female cricketers, and for the territories who are playing already, that more and more competitive cricket be played. I know there is a lot of focus on coaching and so forth, but I always say to people, there's nothing like match readiness. You must be playing games, and I might dare say competitive games.
Yes, and of course, if you get female cricket to spread to countries like St. Martin, Anguilla, and Montserrat, of course, you would be deepening your pool of players, and perhaps you might be unearthing some talent and effectively strengthening the Leeward Islands female team, because even if you look at the male cricket, we have seen some good talent coming out of St. Martin, for example. Casey Carty himself is from St. Martin, but bowling changed from the far in St. Jean. And it looks like she's bowling right arm leg spin, wrist spin.
Yes, and I'm really impressed throughout this tournament. The number of wrist spinners that I've seen within this tournament. We have Afi Fletcher, there is Elliot from Barbados, and now here is another one, St. John, who again doesn't look bad to me. This is an art that even for men is very, very difficult to bowl.
Indeed, but this might be a consolation over because it's the 19th over, so that's the only over she would bowl. As this one is tucked down to square leg by Edwards. It was
Parker. Oh, it's Edwards.
Edwards, sorry. Edwards is the right-hander, and it was stuck just slightly back out of square and into the boundary for 4. So Edwards 27, but it has been a pedestrian 27 in the circumstances. 31, in fact. That 4 taking it to 31. 73 for 5.
One of her features, though, Earl, for me, would be her strength, her power. When she hits the ball, it stays hit. And I think if she could open up her, her repertoire of scoring shots, she can really be a force to be reckoned with time to come. I see a lot of potential and areas that, well, I know the coaches who are around, and I see areas that I would make suggestions where she can be improved.
Yes, she certainly hits it well, and do time it well at times too. That shot was a well-timed shot, just slightly back out of square, and the ball really raced away. But St. Jean giving a consolation over, tosses up, and bowls a wide one.
You're saying a consolation over. I don't think St. John looks bad for a leg spinner. Her areas doesn't look bad, her pace doesn't look bad, and her flight, her guile. And clearly, maybe she's not the first choice spinner with a Arthur Fletcher in there, but I think she looks fairly good to me.
She does. But what I'm saying is that she has been brought on in the penultimate over, and just the one over she would bowl in this match. But she does look good, performing what is a difficult art, right arm wrist spin, and it was not a bad first over.
We're seeing the Jamaican team, looking like the Jamaicans are here already for their encounter this afternoon.
Oh yes, Jamaica would be in fine fettle. They won their first match in good style, and certainly that match, of course, was against Guyana. Was it? Jamaica came up against. No, it was against the Leewards, in fact. They played against, and they won that quite easily.
So the situation here is Leeward 74 for 5, requiring another 55 from this final over. And I think we could safely say, it's very much beyond them. But Parker would want to see how many or how well she can cash in this last over, to improve her confidence against Crafton. And here's Crafton running away, left arm pace outside the off stump. The keeper doesn't gather well.
She's a bowler that I think has not been well utilized by Afi Fletcher. I've seen her for a couple of overs. She's a left arm quickie, and she does get a bit of movement, and she brings some variety, but Fletcher seems to be reluctant to use her. Driven to mid-wicket, a quick single, and she's out. Run out by a long way. Good throw there from Kiana Joseph. Struck the stumps from side on, and Parker was stranded. Well stranded, a couple of meters, just about a meter and a half away from the stumps, and she just kept running towards the pavilion. But Kiana Joseph really showing her skill in the field, and she's a good all-round player, not only with the ball, but with the bat also, and in the field. We have seen her taking some excellent catches in this tournament so far, now effecting a very good run out. She's always one who makes things happen. Again, she was here for the 60 last year and the T20 games that were played, and Kiana Joseph was always having an impact on the game, whether with the ball, whether with the bat or in the field. And in a short mid-wicket position, it's a position that's always important in any version of the game where you have fielders who could effect those sort of run-outs and so forth. So it's 74 for 6. The situation here for Leeward, 55 required from 4. Yeah, in speaking of Kiana Joseph, I think in that same 60 last year, she played a knock for a team which actually was a winning knock. I don't quite recall which team it was against.
Yes, she had a winning inning here, playing some very big shots. That's why I was saying in her batting that she would be going after the Leewards bowling, because she has that capability. But here is Crafton, short of a length delivery that's hit out to mid-wicket, coming off the body of Afi Fletcher. A turn for 2. Would there be a chance of a run out? The batter is safely home. And Leeward now, to me, running with urgency when they should have been doing so throughout the game. One of the things really for the Leewards, there are quite a number of basics of the cricket game that they are not executing well that could improve their out cricket.
I think so. I think they're not good runners, and I say that without any reservation. They are turning trees into singles.
Yes,
it should be the other way around.
Yeah, they really just stroll too many of the runs that they get, and that might also speak to another aspect of their cricket, And there is Edwards hitting that one down to deep fine leg. They turn for one. Would they get two? Yes, and taking their total up to 78 with one ball to go.
Yes, so
Edwards moving her personal tally onto 35, and Leewards getting beyond what they would have made in their first game.
Well, 78, but there's a lot of work to be done by the Leeward Islands. This is a big drive.
Good shot into the gap between extra cover and cover, and she picks up 4 runs, taking the total to 82 from their 20, and taking a personal tally to 39 from some 61 is Edwards. And the Windward Islands, we are happy to say here, have won this encounter against the Leewards here at Warner Park in this T20 Blaze encounter, Earl.
Yeah, so just to wrap up quickly, the Windwards won the toss. They batted first. They opted to take first knock, 128 for 4. Glasgow getting 37, Etienne 24, Homer and Joseph 21 each not out. And the Leewards in reply, 82 for 6. They batted their 20 overs, but only managed to get to 86. With Amanda Edwards, she got 39 not out, and the next best score was 15 from the captain Willett. So Windwards getting a victory here today. The Leeward Islands going down by 2. 2 losses. They lost yesterday, they lost against today. And of course at 2:30 we have another game coming up, and there's one later this evening at 7 o'clock. Then we're back here on Tuesday for 3 matches. On Thursday another 3 matches. And there's some final words here from Novel, and then we'll wrap up.
So the games remaining for today would be the Guyana women who will be taking on the Barbados women, and the Jamaica women will do their business against the Trinidad and Tobago women who had a really good victory against Barbados yesterday. And we leave you here with the news that the Windward Islands have won convincingly against the Leeward Islands here at Warner Park, holding the Leewards just to some 82 runs after having posted a total of 128, winning this encounter by some 46 runs against the Leeward Islands. And we will say thanks to the commentary team this morning in Earl Smithon and Gary Pemberton, yours truly, Norval McCall, leaving you with the Windward Islands capturing their first victory in the T20 Blaze encounter here at Warner Park, St. Kitts against the Leeward, and winning this encounter by 46 runs. We thank you, and we encourage you to be back with us this afternoon for another encounter at 2 o'clock.